Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 one and all, to the public square of the city of Regenera on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Saturday, in time, in the world, together today. We're gathering to celebrate and embrace and expand the field of rewilding our civic imaginations plural, and our civic imagination collective as citizens of Regenera. The civic field is a field of expansion. It's only been in our modern human time on this plane that we think of the city as something that is necessarily urban, that is necessarily closed, that is necessarily crowded and loud and full of noise. The city has always been a frame for how we understand what it means to gather, what it means to be in community together. The very word civics comes from the Latin civis, which simply means community, to be one of community. The city emerges because it emerges in the field of shared human and more than human experience. We're all here because we have decided to be citizens together, citizens of Regenera, citizens of a wildly possible, impossible, protopian, butopian future, and a present that's in the state of rich civic emergence, that is in the state of rich communal, collective, co-creative emergence. We are rewilding not because we are pulling down at the infrastructures of the things that we think of as urban, but because we are allowing all of our wild stories to grow up around everything that we have built and everything that we want to build, everything that we want to cultivate, everything that we want to seed, everything that we want to water, everything that we want to tend together. Our civitas, our civic sphere, is not just the field of us, we beings together. It is the field of all beings. It is the field of all energy. It is the human sphere and the biosphere and the lumosphere, the imagination sphere, the sphere of what we can dream, what we can bring our vision to, and what we can build. Again, we are citizens of this field. We are sharing this space and we are co-creating this space. And today is going to be an extraordinary exploration of what that field looks like. Yesterday, at the beginning of the day, we talked about this consequential time that we're living in. Consequential yesterday because of Juneteenth, because of a celebration of liberation, of a field of citizenship that excluded. Today, we celebrate inclusion in the expansive space of what it means to dream civically, that is to say, to dream in community. We also spoke yesterday about the pending 250th anniversary of a grand civic experiment, a civic experiment that has been full of extraordinary innovation, but also darkness and exclusion and struggle. As we celebrate our own emergence, as we celebrate our own capacity for co-creation and co-dreaming, of a new civic field, of a remembered civic field, of a co-imagined civic field, we expand the horizons of our civic possibility, our collective possibility. And I am so honored and delighted to be here in this field as a citizen, co-dreaming with you all. Ari, do you want to come into the field and share more about what our day will look like?
I feel like I could sit here and listen to you speak like that for a good long while. What a wonderful introduction to what we have at hand today. As we look into rewilding our civic imagination, we're going to be listening to explorations in what is it like to build with living architecture. We're going to listen and look at what it is to live into the myth that we're weaving to create a world that we want to be in rather than a world that we are in tension with. We are going to be hearing a number of different talks around what it is to educate in a time where our very conception of what the mind and consciousness is and is for is evolving and changing. And we're going to be engaged with what it looks like to design not just for the human inhabitants of our civic centers, but to design for the greater co-inhabitants of that space, be they small creatures that we attend to in the day-to-day, or the much, much, much larger than us creature of our collected biosphere. And so with that, we begin our day with just a most deeply moving engagement to look at what it means to move from a declaration of independence to a declaration of interdependence. Roxy?
Hello, my fellow council members of Regenera. So nice to be back with you today. I love this day. And to do this work of collectively declaring our interdependence is a radical and sacred act. And
Mhm.
our friends who are gathering with us today to support us in this process are our partners and our allies. And it just touches me so much because Regenera is a reimagination of civic space. And in order to do this work of looking ahead together, it is together. That's the heart of it. And what a radical act it is to say really clearly what it is that we truly will stand for. And so I'm going to bring up our dear friends, Amelia Rose Barlow, and her partner in this wonderful initiative, Amanda, who actually is just arriving into the room. Hi, Amelia.
Hello, hello. Oh my goodness, it is so fun to be here. I feel like I stepped into the most imaginative space and this is so exciting. So nice to see you. So nice to see so many beloveds here. Thank you for having us. This is a deep inspiration and is such a deep signal to the work that I think we've all carried for so long and to make visible the interrelatedness that we have here in this work is just so beautiful. So thank you, Ari and Roxy, and all of those who've made this possible, and everybody here joining us. And so
Yes.
I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the lands that I am on today. It's a very special moment for me personally. I'm sitting on the Lakota territory, Cheyenne, and Arapaho territory of what is now known as Wyoming, which is also home to four generations of my ancestors before me. So just want to bring in all of those relatives and the beings who have come before me in this very special ecosystem and this biocultural wisdom that has fed my bones and my being and my DNA here that really taught me so much of what I think we're really sharing and talking about today, which is interdependence. So my journey in interdependence, I'll just share a little brief bit just because it's so special to be here. This land mass, I was raised here in adjacent to the largest untouched wilderness of the lower 48, riding my horse and with my dog for hours on end by myself, along with my more than human relatives. And it really informed the way that my outlook on the world kind of took shape. And I sometimes take that for granted. And I just want to honor and acknowledge and give gratitude for this land for informing me in that way. And I would also like to speak to my ancestry, who has carried a lot of this work forward, and I feel as though I'm sort of the next in line here. And a lot of them have been working around this, what I now conceive of as a social technology of declaration. And I just want to acknowledge that this is the 30th year anniversary of my father's Declaration of Independence of Cyberspace, and also to the many generations before me that had participation in the Declaration of Independence 250 years ago. So it's a deep privilege and lineage that I feel like I'm carrying and trying to do my best to put a spin on that ball moving forward. And what I've learned about declaration, the social technology of declaration, is this amazing capacity to do what I was shared with me by this incredible woman named Primavera de Filippi, called hyperstition, which is the ability to forecast the future by declaring it. And so there's a technology in that ability to say what really matters most to us, to make that visible to each other, to commit to that thing that matters the most, and then forecast the future by declaring it and create it with one another. So this is the technology that we're really using here today. So that's the declare piece. On the other side, there's the aspect of interdependence. And so as a young person, as I was going to the launches of Netscape and Google and Yahoo and these spaces of cyberspace, as I was beginning to enter into cyberspace, I had this deep feeling that if we're not careful, we might sort of be stretched across the division point between bits and atoms. And what was really needed was the ability to understand our inherent interdependence, even in those spaces. And as I've worked across democracy, climate, and technology, I've really seen and tracked the moments of the codification and replication of the story of separation that is driving a lot of the crises that we're facing right now. And so in that I thought maybe 15, 20 years ago, oh, well, maybe what we really need is a declaration of interdependence. And so it has been a really long, beautiful journey of coming to this exact moment with this exact configuration of people to share a project that is very near and dear to my heart. And just want to acknowledge and uplift the incredible co-steward Amanda Arch here, who has put her amazing mind, spirit, heart, brilliance, policy strategy behind this, and really has championed this to bring it to bear. And so today is the first day that we are announcing and making public the technology of a Declaration of Interdependence that is in a humble launch in order to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And so with that, I want to also invite Amanda to share into this space anything else that comes to you as far as the spirit of this initiative and what we see moving forward in this next year and beyond. So yeah, I just want to give it to you, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Amelia. And it's so wonderful to be with you all today. I think for me on this journey, I think about this moment of the 250th anniversary of America. And I think it's so interesting that there's kind of these specific energies that are very much present in our society right now, of this kind of understanding, as Amelia said, of this need to move, as we think about independence to interdependence, kind of various aspects of the crises of separation and other things going on across our society, and this realization that there's these deep-rooted values to be returned to in this moment of our connection to each other, to the land, to our non-human species. And then on the other side, this awareness of these new technologies, that as we think about what it would mean to make a declaration in today's day and age, it's probably not going to be written with a quill. It's going to be written in these new ways for everyone to have a participatory voice in this moment. And so that's what I think is the culmination of this tool that we're going to share with you all, is what are the underlying values that we want to declare together, and how can we do that in a way that ensures the most inclusive for as many voices to participate as possible. And so that is our intention and hope of this Declare Interdependence tool that is very much at the beginning journey. I think we see the 4th as the kickoff to a year-long inquiry that we want to have on this declaration process. And so one of our hopes of presenting to you all today is we'd very much love your feedback in this process and helping shape this, and to make it a useful, engaging tool for all, and just really value you all going through this process and sharing your perspectives on how we can enhance this and make this the best experience possible. So Amelia, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Amanda. I just want to back up for one moment to set a little bit of context into the 250th anniversary. So 250 years ago, there was a deep, well-established democracy that pre-existed on this land, and that was a deep influence onto the founding fathers as they declared independence. And I just want to name that the Haudenosaunee Confederacy had a deep influence in the way that this U.S. democracy was founded. And I would really encourage everyone here to go back and reread the Declaration of Independence, because if you see what it says, it's actually empowered by nature and nature's God. That declaration then empowered a constitution empowered a United States government. And so we're looking at this moment, as Amanda spoke to, as the opportunity to reassess what we're laying on, what is the foundation of our declaration with each other. And again, to make that publicly known and then shoot that out in front of us like a hyperstition or a prayer, and then walk towards that with institutional builds that really put into practice the principles of interdependence. And so the reason why we're presenting here in this community is because we believe this community is dedicated and committed to putting those principles into practice. And so that's really what we're here doing today. So thank you for being that kind of community. So with that, I will, if it is okay, I would like to share screen. Do I have permissions to do that? Yes, I do. And I would like to present to you Declare Interdependence. So acknowledging that so many different people through so many different streams into this river have contributed into this thinking. I want to uplift a member of this community, Carson Linforth Foley, for designing this beautiful site. This is, I would consider this maybe 0 to 1. So it is not by any means complete in its narrative design, but it is really here as a tool for you to begin playing and inviting others into declaring interdependence with you, with your community, with one another in a larger collective. So these declarations will be displayed publicly again for us to have some kind of North Star in this moment of division and separation and polarization, to create a unified vision for the future that we do want and build together. So creating your own personal declaration of interdependence, each submission will be publicly shared and woven into a larger collective declaration. In the middle of that, as a community member, you also have an opportunity at the end of your process of declaring interdependence on this form I will walk you through shortly, to select Design Science Studio, which is so awesome because that means that your personal declaration will be woven together with the mission statement of Design Science Studio to create your own very unique declaration artifact that hopefully we will then be able to look at and go more deeply into at the Interdependence Summit that is coming up. So I just want to share this. This is the first community declaration that has been created, and each person who submits to this declaration will change organically, which is really exciting. So it'll continue to morph and change as each voice comes into this stream in the river. And then each personal declaration will also contribute to the collective declaration. So again, as Amanda said, this is not one quill by a certain demographic of small group of people. It is really about, hang on one second. It is really about the ability for us all to contribute to something that is organic and a collective voice. So if you have a time and an opportunity today, I strongly encourage you to read through this declaration that has already been created by the few handful of collaborators and those who have contributed thus far. And it's a beautiful declaration. So the idea is for each individual to go here to, actually here, let me walk you through this. Go to the landing page, read through some of the declarations, and then when you're ready, you can begin by making your own personal declaration. So America is turning 250 as the United States approaches the 250th anniversary. We have a chance to reflect on who we've been and what we are becoming and the futures we choose together. Interdependence is not a new idea. That is certainly not a new idea to this group of people. And then why declare this kind of social technology that I was speaking to? to name what sustains us, what we're committing to, and to the world that we're wanting to build together. So at this point, you get ready to declare. I will say that it's about 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how deep you want to go. That is entirely up to you. You can submit one sentence, you can write as long as you'd like. So it's really dependent on how much you want to give to this process. And then here, you begin with naming what does interdependence mean to you. You have these little icons down here that can kind of walk you through a little bit more deeply into these topics. What are you interdependent with? What is your vision for an interdependent future? And what is your commitment to this future? And then where do you call home? Your name, your email. Your email and name will never be used other than to send you your declaration with an editable link where you can edit your declaration and your name that will be publicly presented, and then keep you updated for this initiative if you so choose. So at this point, you have the opportunity to select Design Science Studio, which will allow your declaration to contribute to the declaration of Design Science Studio, which is really exciting. And so with that, I just want to say thank you so very much for your contribution to this process. And I'm really looking forward to potentially being able to use this artifact in the moment of celebration on the 4th with you in person in Hopland, to create a deeper process around this artifact of declaration into what we're committing to together, how that might look, and how we might work in coordination with one another and move that forward to the practices of interdependence and creating the governance and financial systems that are in alignment with that. And with that, I hand it back to you, Roxy. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's such a pleasure to be here and just celebrating this first moment with this community here, in presenting Declare Interdependence.
What a historic and important day. Thank you so much for being available today. I know that today was a bit of wild time with you being in Wyoming and on the move, and it's just so special that we were able to have this particular opening, because today is all about rewilding our civic imagination. And so it's the most perfect day, the most perfect day for us to possibly share this. And so it's such an honor to be in partnership with both of you and with this process. And thank you also for bringing the historic lineage, both your ancestors, but also, just the reminder for me and the telling for everybody about the broader connection of this with your father, Amelia. It's always such a gift to have an opportunity to reconnect to your history and your background as well in all of this. Is personal work, there's a reason why we continue to tend the threads that we tend, and when there's this piece of our legacy that we are all weaving together and weaving forward, we don't always get to see those threads. So it was really special that you jumped in even before I was able to do your introduction the way we normally would, where we share a bit about your background. But I think it was beautiful and perfect, and thank you both so much. Really looking forward to hopefully having you in person and continuing to do this together in Hopland. And we'll also send this out as well in the community follow-up emails and stuff, so people start to work on it. Thank you so much. So grateful. We declare interdependence. Thank you, thank you. And I'm going to bring Rebecca up here as well. If you want to add anything, Rebecca, as we transition.
That was incredible. And it's just such perfect timing with the 250 and the solstice and Regenera rising. And I can't wait to write my declaration. I've got it queued up for after I give a talk later. Just amazing and really, really lovely to be in community with both of you. And now I get to introduce one of the coolest ladies that I have yet to meet in this world. I get to introduce you to Gigi Vanderbroek. She is a techno-mystic storyteller and climate futurist, moving between ancestral, ecological, and cosmic realms, with Taino lineage shaped by a nomadic life, working at the intersection of youth power, systems change, and humanity's remembrance of Earth and sky. I'm very, very honored to be able to introduce Gigi as she tells us about becoming ancestors.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's so lovely to be here with all of you. Come closer. Sit with me for a moment. Whether your heart feels light or whether it feels heavy now, let the body arrive. All of it. The tired shoulders, the grief that sits quietly beneath your ribs, the dreams you do not dare to speak aloud. Let all of it arrive now. And if you wish, you may close your eyes and reach into your memory for someone who has loved you deeply, someone in whose presence you could finally exhale. A grandmother, a grandfather, here or departed, a beloved elder. Feel their presence, the warmth of their hands, the softness of their eyes. Now place one hand upon your heart. Feel the small, wild rhythm of it. This heartbeat did not begin with you. Someone carried you before they knew your name. Someone dreamed you without knowing your face. Someone loved a future they would never see. And because they did, you are here. Perhaps you arrived carrying sorrow, uncertainty, questions too large for words. Let the earth hold them. She has carried mountains. She can carry this. She has carried oceans. She has carried generations. She can carry this too. She knows the weight of your footsteps, the warmth your body leaves behind when you rest against her. She knows the places where your heart has broken open, and she knows the names you still whisper when nobody is listening. And if you become very still, you can feel her now, breathing beneath you, patient, ancient, alive, like a great mother resting, her dark hair woven through roots and through rivers, her breath rising through moss and stone, through seeds softening beneath the soil, dreaming of forests, of whales, of wildflowers, dreaming the world into being. The mountains are breathing inside your bones. The ocean is remembering itself inside your blood. The first rains are still traveling through you. Nothing in you began with you. And perhaps that is why you are so tired. Not the tiredness that sleep can cure, a deeper tiredness. The tiredness of witnessing the sound the body makes when language has broken. The tiredness of seeing small shoes covered in dust, of empty cradles, of tiny hands that should be still reaching for their mother's fingers. I know, I carry this too. And perhaps there is a place inside you, a place that remembers that another way of being is possible. If grief is here today, let it be here. You do not need to hide it. You do not need to make it smaller. You do not need to be strong for anyone now. Let the tears come if they come. The earth knows how to receive them. The rivers do not apologize for flowing, neither should you. Because grief is just love. searching for somewhere to land. It is love refusing to forget. And beneath the grief, something else remains, something older, something that has survived every empire, every war, every winter. Life, life, life still choosing itself again, again, and again. The whale returning across oceans, the green shoot rising through charred earth, the heart opening once more. None of us arrived here alone. Let us call the ancestors, those whose names survived, those whose names were taken, those whose songs hid themselves inside bloodlines when language could no longer survive. I call my Taino ancestors, people of salt water and stars, people who knew the sea was alive, mother of the waters, mother of moon, mother of birth, stand beside us now. I call the Bakoko, people of the forest, people who knew that nothing survives alone, that the earth is not scenery, she is family. Stand beside us now. I call the grandmothers, las abuelas, the women whose backs bent so the future could live, stand beside us now. Can you feel them? Not as memory, as presence. In the scent that suddenly returns and opens a forgotten doorway inside of you. Living quietly beneath your skin, like roots beneath the forest floor, like moonlight hidden inside the tide. They are here, in the courage that rises, in the hand that reaches out, in the voice that speaks truth, in the song that refuses to die, in the part of you that still chooses love when fear would be easier. Can you feel them? Not below you, not above you, within you, breathing. They are the reason we know how to love children, the reason we gather around tables, the reason we tell stories, the reason we plant seeds, the reason we continue. They are not gone. They have become river, forest, wind, memory, instinct. They have become us. And perhaps that is why our hearts ache when we watch the children, because they carry something that we have spent a lifetime trying to find our way back to. Not just innocence, something older, something wiser, something wilder. The feeling of lying in tall grass and forgetting where your body ended and the world began. The certainty that the river was speaking, that the trees were listening, that every living thing has a place here, that no one stood outside the circle, not the child, not the stranger, not the wounded, not the forgotten, that the earth did not ask who you were before offering you water, that the sun did not ask where you came from before warming your skin. You belonged the way rivers belong to the sea, the way breath belongs to body. You belonged because you are life, and life recognized itself in you. I can hear them, the children who are coming, the children who have always been coming, their laughter scattering through the world, wild, uncontained, impossible to hold, their dark feet with soil, their hair tangled with wind, their pockets heavy with treasures. A stone polished smooth by 1,000 rivers of years of river song, a feather still carrying whispers of the sky, a piece of sea glass holding an entire ocean of light. And they stop suddenly because sunlight has become trapped inside a spider web, because a snail is carrying an entire spiral universe upon its back, because they have breathed upon a dandelion and watched their wonder scatter into the wind. 100 tiny departures, 100 tiny beginnings, because a dragonfly has arrived wearing the colors of a dream, because wonder has called their name. The children still know, they still know rivers are alive, that trees are listening, that stones remember, that the earth is speaking all the time, and the earth, the old grandmother, watches them. and something in her softens. Like rain arriving after a long season of drought, she drinks them in, their wonder, their wildness, their fierce delight at being alive. And through their eyes, she experiences herself anew. Perhaps the children who are coming are not asking us to invent something new. Perhaps they're asking us to remember what we once knew, that rivers are relatives, that forests are teachers, that the earth is alive, and that wonder is not something we outgrow, it is something we return to. Can you feel them? Waiting, not in fear, in possibility, like seeds resting beneath winter soil, like birds sleeping inside eggs, like forests hidden inside acorns. Can you hear them, listening for the stories we are writing with our lives, asking us, what did you choose? What did you protect? What did you love? What did you leave behind? And here we are, at the turning, before the solstice, the long breath between what has been and what is becoming. For thousands of years, humans have gathered at this threshold, watching the sun, watching the horizon, listening, waiting, remembering. Something is ending, we can feel it. Ways of living built upon separation, ways of seeing that forgot relationship, ways of measuring value that does not honor the sacred. The old leaves are falling, the old stories are loosening, the old skin is shedding, and this can feel frightening until we remember how the forest works. Nothing in the forest is wasted, not the fallen leaf, not the broken branch, not even death. The compost is holy. Everything becomes nourishment, everything becomes soil, everything becomes life again. The children who have not yet arrived are already moving towards us, like roots moving towards water, like dawn gathering before breath beneath the horizon, like a heartbeat forming inside the darkness of the womb. They are coming, not as an idea, not as a possibility, as life, as breath, as wonder. And one day, they will place their bare feet upon the earth we leave behind. They will drink from the rivers, breathe the air, listen for the birds, look up at the sky. And when they arrive, what will they feel? Will they feel that we remembered them while they were still a dream inside the body? Will they find traces of our fear or evidence of our love? Will they touch the bark of a tree and feel our devotion there? Will they kneel beside a river and feel our prayer moving in the current? Will they walk barefoot through the grass and know, without anyone telling them, that they too belong to this living world?
Wow. I think I speak for all of us when I say what an incredibly heartfelt and moving way to open our day and to remind us what this work is about. Thank you so much, Gigi.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you for creating this incredible space of remembrance. It's an honor to be in circle with all of you.
I have no words right now, but there will be an abundance of them flowing soon enough, for sure. Thank you for moving me so deeply.
Thank you.
Is John here?
You are now John. John is now you.
Wonderful. Well, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Govind Chittarath and Harlan Emil Gruber, speaking about, oh, and John as well. I'll pass it off to you, John, to do the introduction.
Well, I am completely unprepared to do the introduction. I can do the introduction if you would like me to.
I am happy to walk alongside with you. It feels actually like a wonderful moment, you know, connecting both with you and with Govind have been two of the highlights of really seeing people who are technically so adept and interested in expanding what it means when we put our technical attention towards the work that we do in this world. And so yeah, I will introduce Govind as a multidisciplinary designer working across architecture, nature, and technology to explore symbiotic, regenerative futures. Harlan is a galactic transformation agent. I will say that both of those bios underplay the vast skill set that these gentlemen carry. But please welcome to the stage, Harlan and Govind.
Okay, well, I'm here. Where's Govind? Well, I'm going to start off the introduction to this video that we collaborated on by first saying that if anyone has not seen Govind's presentation in the Making the Invisible Visible salon, I'm going to put it in the chat. And for people that are on the live stream, just go to the Design Science Studio YouTube channel and look up Making the Invisible Visible video and jump to 50 minutes and 35 seconds. Govind prepared this incredible presentation called Bioreceptive Interface, which is how I got to connect with him. And so since then, I reached out to him and I basically instigated this. And as you stated in the introduction to Govind, he's really technically adept. So what you're about to see is a short video that used his technical expertise to create this. And also, though, in our conversation, he really took the lead in creating the way to approach this video called Living Architecture and the way to write the script. And then, we met many times to refine it. So it's really his doing, but it's our collaboration, because Govind's vision aligns so closely to my vision that I just felt called to collaborate. And basically what this video is just a short introduction to inspire people to plant the seed. It's like the tiniest seed of what we all could be doing. And besides all of us today that get to see it, or the people on the live stream who will get to see this later, it's even going out there on the subtler levels, without just to be in the conscious new sphere of planting this shift of consciousness of how we build and inhabit the earth. So go ahead, Govind, and then looking forward to seeing this final revision that he did work painstakingly in the last 24 hours to create after our meeting yesterday.
Well, yes, it's done now. And so before we begin, I would like to express my deep gratitude to the community of design science and for creating a space that weaves between so much, where new ideas can emerge. I would like also to thank Harlan for initiating this collaboration and for bringing us together around questions that feel deeply important in our time. What follows is an invitation into inquiry, reflection, and imagination. It is what has emerged at the intersection of both of our worlds. It is sort of envisioned as a spatial essay portrayed as an evolving thought field, guiding you through questions, possibilities, and visions. And like Harlan said, it has just been great getting to know Harlan, who just has so many new ideas, he has a different kind of perspective to this. And I hope you enjoy this journey. Thank you.
And I just want to chime in before you hit play that we're also working on developing my 12 spiral city concept, which is an overarching thing I've been working on, and you'll see a few glimpses of it towards the end. Okay, let it rip.
Beautiful. All right. Oh, I'm always so delighted about our cross-cultural, intergenerational collaborations here in the Design Science Studio. Let's see this beautiful video that you all have woven.
Living architecture. Ecology, geometry, technology and the future of human habitation. Harlan Emil Gruber and Govind Chithrath. In the vast emptiness of space and time, there is a rare and beautiful phenomenon. Life. From billions of years of Earth's unfolding, humanity emerged. We are not separate from it. We are one of its expressions. Yet somewhere along the way, we forgot. This is a journey of remembrance. We all know the feeling. Some places nourish us. Others drain us. Some places feel alive. Others feel strangely disconnected. Why do places built by humans often feel so different from places created by nature? Why do some spaces feel sacred and timeless? Why do some landscapes invite connection, while others create separation? What is it that we feel in nature that we rarely sense in our cities? And yet, isn't everything nature? We think of nature and civilization as though they are opposites. But where does one end and the other begin? The minerals beneath our cities. The metals in our machines. The silicon in our technologies. All come from the earth. And so, do we. What is it about nature that makes us want to tame it? What have we forgotten? What if nature is the expression of a deeper intelligence woven throughout the cosmos, revealing itself through patterns, relationships, and forms that echo across scales? From atoms to galaxies, from cells to whales. What if life is not random, but consciously created? Organized through pattern, through proportion, through coherence, through structures that connect the smallest and largest expressions of existence. What if life itself has a language? And what if we are not separate from it, but participants in its unfolding evolution? Life flourishes through connection, through countless relationships woven across scales. Forests exchanging nutrients through hidden networks. Rivers linking mountains to oceans. Ecosystems shaped by reciprocity and interdependence. Life is not a collection of separate parts. It is participating in a larger whole. What if our buildings could participate in life rather than merely contain it? What if our cities could become ecosystems? What if architecture is the link between humanity and the living world? These are not predictions. They are possibilities. Explorations. Invitations. Visions of what will emerge when humanity aligns with nature's evolutionary intelligence. What if future architecture is not separate from nature, but symbiotic with it? What if the next civilization is not built, but cultivated organically? These questions are not abstract. They are the living edge of our time. Humanity has become a force that disrupts the very systems life depends on. We cannot continue as we have. We need new ways of being. This work is a seed, planted in the soil of our collective imagination. May we choose to weave our existence back into the fabric of life, in harmony, in humility, in belonging. Our role is not to conquer the earth, but to enable it to thrive. To become conscious participants in the evolution of a living planet. We are not separate from the world. We are connected through our hearts to the heart of the earth. We are the conscious cells of the superorganism Gaia, awake, alive, and giving form to the new earth.
Well, thank you. Gavin worked so hard. I was just an instigator, so really, really honored that he was able to make such an incredible video.
Yes, that was. Thank you. Thank you for all of that.
I so appreciate your body of work, Govind, and I really love seeing this fusion. You're both people who have such a strong skill at both designing and building, and I so can't wait to see these projects take root in the world in a tangible way that we might get to embody and we might get to gather in. So thank you so much for sharing.
And like the takeaway is that we all are these conscious cells to build the new earth. It's not just like we're wanting to design what you see there. It's to inspire everyone to awaken to this relationship.
Absolutely. Thank you too so much.
Thank you.
And next, it's my pleasure to introduce Aileen Strickland McGee, who is a designer, a researcher, a futurist, strategist, artist, and writer, imagining and designing futures where the well-being of people and planet thrive in balance. And she's going to share a bit about the development of her project, the emergence of Prismatic Center, a creative systems impact studio, its early prototypes, and opening for connection, collaboration, and learning. Aileen, so good to be with you today.
Thank you so much. It's good to be with all of you. So I will share my screen in just a moment. But this has been a journey over the last a little bit more than 6 months, but it's been a busy 6 months. And I think at our last Making the Invisible Visible, I had shared sort of where that was in whiteboard form. It was a very in the moment share around that process. And so what I wanted to share today, and if you weren't there, that doesn't matter, you'll follow along, of just where this has evolved and sort of in its own emergence of trying to create a container of sorts for certainly for myself to move into as a practice, building from experiences and knowledge and how to really live in to what I feel is my deep calling to help bring awareness to the interconnection and our interbeing between ourselves, each other, and our environments in service of more thoughtful action and intentional choice making. And so I will share my screen now because the easiest way to do this is just to kind of go through how this is taking shape. And so last month, it took shape, the easiest way to communicate, in an initial just website, just sharing what Prismatic Center is and what it is really aiming to do. And I feel very much like this is that future, see the future and feel the future vision, and where it is today. It's building to really live into the mission of what Prismatic Center is. And so this is a deeply personal, very much anything that you see is coming through me and framing up, but Prismatic Center. And so, like I said, it's a naming Creative Systems Impact Studio to help imagine and build life-centered systems rooted in love. And I won't read this setup, but this whole idea that in order to move into those futures, it's not just incremental, but it takes, I'm calling this prismatic shift. And what this studio is oriented around is one of two aspects to it. So there's what I'm calling the expressions and experiences. And the expressions are really about what are those ideas and concepts that enable these life-centered systems to emerge. And so the work there is generating and sharing insights that deepen our awareness to our interconnections with ourselves, one another, and the living world. And I think at this moment, just naming that, but knowing that this can take many different forms, and it may be research that exists, and maybe it's just simplifying and making it more accessible to a wider audience. It may be a few new ideas of how to take a few different concepts and putting them together out into the world. And then the experiences is really ways to engage people in this, like the how do we do this? And so primarily through workshops. So these lived experiences, bringing people into the ideas and having them work through. And again, that can take many different forms depending on who the audience is and what the context is. And then strategic orientation and guidance. And so very often in the work that I've done, I find that even mission-driven organizations have the vision or they have the bits and pieces, but how to take all of that and really organize it into a strategy to say, how do we begin to break this down and take those steps forward? And strategy can mean a lot of different things. And so this is one area that also over the last few months, and I won't talk about it in the prototype, is just working with a few different mission-driven organizations locally to help them kind of organize what they're doing so that they can do that better and more clearly and articulate their where they're going and how they're getting there. And so really this larger frame of the how exists in this prismatic shift. So the shift that transforms a system towards love. And happening in ways where we imagine new ways of being, seeing, and doing across our systems at the levels of the me, we, and world, and then bring those into being through our choices and actions. And so this frame here is really where helping set up what is above, whether it's the research and insights or the workshops themselves, and saying they could fall across all of these phases. They can fall into maybe one or two more primarily at these different levels of scales of the intra work, inter work, and up through that scales and sort of drawing a red thread through there. And when I talk through the prototypes, it'll hopefully make a little bit more sense. But this first one is really about starting with envisioning and imagining new possibilities. And I know that everybody here knows and feels and is creating the world that is possible. I think in a lot of different contexts, this is a step that often gets skipped over, at least in the spaces that I've found myself. And so how to help really people imagine what these new possibilities are and design and lead from that future versus from where we are and trying to make change that way. Helping people see and sense their systems, understanding where those levers are that we can pull to shift those systems, then how do we consider our choices and their impacts? And then how do we take aligned action? And so there's so much that falls underneath this. Um, um, and then I'll skip to the prototypes, but this is just, again, at this stage, I'm just sort of lifting this to say, I'm looking for people who are trying to figure out how to do this, or maybe they have a context in which to, hey, I have this idea that I want to pull these people in, and how might we help them imagine and understand their systems and where to build. So both collaborators, creatives, and then also organizations. And so I'm in the process of thinking and working on like, what are some of these initial offerings or more concrete prototypes that can be played with and offered. And so I'll shift now to sharing just a few and talking through a few of the prototypes that I've been testing over the last, again, 6 or 8 months. And so this first one is one that actually, developed for a convening in Aspen last year around with all of these different leaders at large organizations who are leading sustainability, DEI work, all of that, and saying, how do we begin to think about systems change? And that's an audience that this way of thinking is not maybe one that's as present as it is for everybody on this call. And so that was a 2-hour prototype last summer, and then I ran it again in May with some climate leaders across some various organizations to really have them look at how do they envision change. And so it was bringing in a little bit of mindfulness activities into that, and then having them write like an email from their future self as if the things that they were working on were wildly successful. And so had them do an exercise where they were writing an email to themselves. Again, this is more of a corporate audience. And then did an activity where we begin to see our systems and had them map out the elements and interconnections of the system in which they are trying to shift. And through that, starting to look at where were the gaps between where they are today, where they want to be. And then we brought up Donella Meadows' levers of change in a system and had them start to map those gaps that they saw to those levers, so that they were both being given the frameworks to begin to see these systems and the language of how they may start to think about those and where those more powerful levers are, and then ending with sort of looking at what is their agency within this system, directly or to influence or to build coalitions with others. And so we did a brief exercise around that. And so again, prototyping that a couple times, and I think learning something new every time. But one thing I will share that made me cry after running this at the beginning of May is that there was this woman who worked for a large organization and was extremely frustrated by the lack of diversity and women on their board. And we went through this workshop, and she had said to me afterwards, and we had this dinner, that she was sitting next to the investor and the investor's investor. And based on some of the things that we had done in this workshop, it gave her a little bit of courage at that dinner to give voice to that, to the investor, saying like, this is not okay. We need to be changing this. And that they were like, oh, we didn't realize, we'll be talking about that, blah, blah, blah. And so you could tell just in her like taking that action, it was really powerful to see, even just sort of helping people think through some of these things. And even just that night, having this woman take the courage to say something to sort of shift a system. And we don't know, like, again, what will fall from those conversations. But if she hadn't said anything, those possibilities weren't even there. Another prototype again, in the context of the work I do at the company I work at, we're looking at how to shift towards more circular systems. And so this one was a fun one to design where we traveled to the future. And so we did a few imagination warm-ups from Jane McGonigal out of IFTF. She had some activities to get people's brains primed. And then the afternoon, I had written basically speculative fiction for a future where in 15 years, our organization is leading the way in circularity, not just for our business, but transforming our industry towards more circular ways of making things, more not making things. And so we all had name tags and we time traveled to this future, and the participants, which was a cross-functional teams, added on to these futures and created an artifact from that future to bring back to the present. And at the end of this day, again, one of the biggest sort of heartfelt moments was somebody in the workshop saying and looking at what we had created and saying, none of this is impossible. Like we could do this, which was just so wonderful. And then the next day we came back and used an exercise from the Presencing Institute Theory U of modeling our systems and reflecting on them through sculpture and 3D modeling, and then moved into some more design thinking type of exercises to sort of identify what those shifts were that needed to happen and what needed to stop and start. And so this work was a catalyst for work that we're building on to really try to identify how we shift our systems towards more circular ways of being. And then the last prototype I'll just speak into is one that I tried back in April. So we had a take your child to work day, and they were looking for different activities. And so this was an opportunity just to say, hey, I've got like a few ideas. Let's just try it with kids. There's no failing here. And so there was 5 different activities that we set up and called it the Better Futures Creative Studio. Where it was, them answering a question and putting it up. And right here, what you're seeing is just the little activity cards. They wrote postcards from a flourishing future from their future selves. And I created a mailbox in which they mailed them in. Well-being superheroes, they thought about their strength and what they are really good at or what they're passionate about. And they designed a superhero around it. Love rocks, super simple. Got some free rocks, actually from an ammunition and gun shop, which felt a little bit metaphorical, taking that for, and kids wrote messages, and the idea was them to take it home and put them in their community so that people would see these messages of love. And then inventions for a better world. So we had some activities where they were able to think up and ideate around an invention that helps create a better world, and then had some materials for them to do that. And actually what ended up too, which was really wonderful, was that somebody that was there, one of my coworkers, was running an event for an intergenerational talk around creating a better world. And so we actually pulled in a few of these activities and tested them out in community at that event. And then they actually took that Love Rocks and created another event, an activity in and around that about 3 weeks later, which was really wonderful to sort of see some of the ripple effects of these small activities make their way into the world. And so this is some of the things I am sort of building the container and then trying to test in the opportunities that I sort of find both myself in and trying to make where can whether they're larger workshops or some of these smaller activities, just start to get people engaged in using more embodied, art-based, creative ways to help a variety of audiences and people imagine and build futures that are rooted in life-centered systems and love. And that's all.
Wow. Incredible.
And that's all.
Yeah, just amidst everything else. But like I said, I think in what I'm finding is like, I mean, I'm a designer, so it's like I need to like make things like very tangible, and having a lot of ideas, but like, what is the context? And so I think that's always where I tend to struggle. And so I think seeing these moments of like, oh, here's an opportunity to build something out in real and test it. And I've just been trying to lean in to that and sort of um, let, perfect not be the barrier to the possible. And and again, I think some of these things too, how to build that and share that and grow that. I think that Love Rocks one was just like, it was a super simple one. But to see sort of like the engagement with it, and we put some rocks out even in front of my house, and our neighbors have started to come up. And we're talking to our neighborhood association now. So it's really, yeah, these seeds can spread in yeah, just wonderful ways.
You are a wonderful seed, spreading regeneration and immersive and life-changing experiences for people. And I have to say, Aileen has really, every time you've presented, I'm like, wow, how practical, methodical, consistent. And I think there's so much for all of us to gain from your presentations of all of this incredible work. These are the bridges that you are building as a designer. And I just know that this work, as imperfect as it might feel, is just really incredibly impactful. So thank you, Aileen. And we've put different ways that you can stay in touch, that you can keep up with Prismatic Center, both at the website, on Instagram, and also reach out and get connected with Aileen Strickland McGee on LinkedIn. You're just so open and so willing to design with others, and I think that's just another, just really, it's a part that makes you just a wonderful revolutionary, and it's just been wonderful to be in DSS with you.
Thank you, and thank you all for your time and attention. I deeply appreciate it, and the push. And I will say, Roxy, especially 2 months ago, pushing me to share, because that's a hard thing, and I think that I have seen the ripple effects of that push 2 months ago, in myself and then out into the world. And so such a deep, deep thank you for you and for this container to help give me confidence to share and lean in. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Eileen. It's so incredible to see how much you have generated, and understanding the depth of the impact of these kinds of exercises and design processes for most people is giving me so much vision for your capacity that you're creating within the communities that you're touching, to be able to be stewards of these alternate ways of designing for life. And I often will remind other members of the team, or have conversations about them, about this like important layer of checking in with everybody and really encouraging them to share, because it is part of the way that we've designed the Design Science Studio, to have these moments for sharing. And it's pretty common for people to have a layer of not necessarily feeling ready, or knowing when ready is actually time, or when things are time to be ready, whatever that sort of moment is a pretty consistent pattern. And I know in my heart of hearts, from a variety of different folks throughout the years, of saying like, oh, if I hadn't had that additional invitation, I probably wouldn't have pushed myself. And I'm just so grateful for like you specifically saying yes and leaning in and being willing to show us your whiteboard and show us your, everything that's happening behind the scenes. And I'm just so excited for everywhere that this will go. And it's such an honor to be on this journey with you, Eileen. You're an incredible designer and futurist, and it's just a joy to be able to have this time to co-create and collaborate in service to a better world for everyone. Cute.
Thank you both. And now I think we're gonna move into Roxy. Don't you go away, because we're gonna need you back up here with Gigi and Pauline. So as everyone's coming up, now is our opportunity to explore innovative learning programs that cultivate creativity, connection, and systems change. Let's take a deep dive for the next 20 minutes or so into reimagining education as a pathway toward regenerative futures. So with us right now, we have Gigi Vandenbril, Roxy Shohadi, and I believe we'll have Pauline Drost. We'll see if Pauline can make it up here. Now,
We need Pauline to turn her camera on so I can add her to the group of y'all up there.
Perfect. All right. And as that's happening, I just want to let everyone know that Eve Rose was also going to join us, but she's a little under the weather right now. So I just wanted to let everybody in on the beautiful work that she's been doing, producing DSS throughout this incubator cycle with Roxy and Ari and the whole team. And she's a creative producer and project manager, creating immersive, community-centered experiences rooted in connection and play. So, Eve, you are with us. And now I'd like to just also let you know a little bit more. I know you've been introduced to Gigi Vandenbril, but she's a techno-mystic and storyteller and climate futurist. But did you know that she's also an international development expert, social entrepreneur, and humanitarian who's worked with UNICEF, UNESCO, and other UN agencies? Also, our very own Roxy Shohadi, is an artivist, regenerative designer, cultural ecologist, experiential producer, and creative doula of protopian futures, and an educator in service to equity, justice, regeneration, ritual, and cultural evolution. And that is why she is a founding creator of the Design Science Studio. So I want to welcome you both. Because what you're doing is incredibly impactful. And so we're going to talk a little bit about education. And Pauline, we're having you join.
Still no word from Pauline at the moment.
Okay, well, when Pauline joins us, which I have faith in, she'll be coming also with her perspective as a system redesigner and translator. Pauline is working towards another future without waste, where minimal inputs of energy and materials result in thriving for people, animals, water, soil, and air. And so I wonder, since we have you up here, Gigi and Roxy, if you could just share a little bit about where you are in the world and a little bit about the program you have been working on creating. Hold on.
I'm trying to help Pauline join via audio.
Okay, I can pause. Yeah. If we put out a little collective on-screen energy. Okay.
All right, I think we have Pauline.
Well, good morning, good evening.
Oh,
this is Paulina.
Hold on. All right, I think I've got her. Can you hear her?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Roxy.
Wonderful. Okay. So Pauline, we can't see you, but we can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent.
And excellent. And maybe you would like to quickly start and tell us where you are in the world and a little bit about the program, the educational program you've been working on creating.
Okay, thank you. I'm Pauline Drost. I live in the Netherlands, in Europe, up north, almost to the Wadden Sea. And I work as a teacher researcher at the University of Applied Sciences van Hal-Larenstein in Leeuwarden. My faculty is agricultural business and management. So in other words, the farmer of the future are my students.
Wonderful. And Gigi, would you like to tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days?
Yes, of course. So I'm working presently with UNICEF's think tank. It's called UNICEF Innocenti. It's based in Florence. And basically, I have the privilege of working with young climate leaders on a new fellowship that we've just launched on climate education. And basically, it's an 18-month initiative that's really at the intersection of education, equity, and climate action. And we're co-designing this program with young leaders, so researchers, educators, and all of this is grounded in the Convention on the Rights of the Child's General Comment 26, which is all about the right to a clean and healthy environment. And so we're really using climate education as a right and a lever for systemic change. That's the focus of our work. So we basically work with this young cohort of 12, but we had over 18,000 young people apply who are doing climate education across 150 countries, which is a real sign of the hunger for this type of work, looking at systems change. And so we're working with these 12 young people to focus on what they're doing at country level. And we call these bright spots. So our aim is to elevate what they're doing so that that can inform policy change and COP processes and the sort of national plans that countries are developing around climate, ensuring that young people are really co-architects of this change.
Wow. So nurturing tomorrow's farmers, nurturing tomorrow's bright spots, and then Roxy nurturing all of us here as well. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you feel is going on here in Design Science Studio and in how we fit into this?
Absolutely. The moment that we're in calls for a radical reimagination of education, how we learn and live and become together. And in order to meet that moment, in relationship with all the principles that we've learned from nature, from regenerative design, from design science, which is short for comprehensive anticipatory design science, coming from Buckminster Fuller, and the power of creativity, speculative design, artivism, all of these things to help us to decolonize our imaginations and empower and cultivate the courage and creative capacity of everyone in humanity to shape the world, to shape the future. That is ultimately what we are up to in the Design Science Studio, is building that capacity so that we can be co-stewards of these futures that work for all of life. And so the Design Science Studio is an educational and cultural incubator and community of practice that I had the honor of co-founding in 2020 and am now co-stewarding with you and Ari and the others in this amazing stewardship body and council. And we are now 6 years in since the beginning, halfway through the design science decade. And that's brought over 460 creators to launch over 350 projects from over 50 countries around the world.
So what I'm hearing, and thank you all, because these are such intertwined, interconnected, and inspiring educational initiatives. We can continue to round robin. So Pauline, you would be next. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about, what inspired you to create and to start doing education the way that you are. What were the gaps in the education that was being presented to these farmers of tomorrow?
The gaps are really, well, we've been talking about climate change. In the Netherlands, we are rather fortunate not to have that severe effect yet, though when farmers have land close to the sea, they will notice salination of their soil. And we also experience in the Netherlands changes in the weather pattern. So they see that the seasonal rain, the patterns are changing. So farmers have questions, farmers have worries, and their children bring in those questions into the classroom. And together with a certain type of research projects, we dive deeper into what kind of adaptation or mitigation probabilities do they have and what type of solutions they might have. And that's quite interesting that so far we wish to have technology as a part of the solution. I am aiming into bio-based, nature-based solutions, which are quite unusual for the Netherlands. So the gap is the farmers don't know, they experience issues, their children don't know, and together with our educational programs, we dive deeper into possibilities and their solutions we bring back to the farm level. And step by step, we see changes in business models. Step by step, we see changes into openness to innovate.
Mm. That openness, thank you, Pauline, is really right. That things are changing so quickly that we need to change as well. And I wonder if, Gigi, that brings you up, with 18,000 young people trying to get into 12 spots for this. I wonder if that immediately tells us a little bit about how you're inspired and why this work is so why it's calling so deeply right now.
Absolutely. And what Pauline shared around young people driving solutions, that's really the focus of our work because we realize we're currently living in an age of meta crisis, no? So the challenges, climate change, AI, digital transformation, economic instability, I mean, the demographic transition, right? We know 1.2 billion youth will be entering the workforce in Africa alone over the next decade, and there are only 400 million jobs expected. There's mental health pressures, there's democratic distrust, there's, as we know, rapid technological acceleration. And so our central question is, how can governments and institutions make better decisions for future generations that actually meaningfully include children and young people today? So, decisions about the future shouldn't be made without those who are inheriting the future. And so we know, for example, through our research that 70% of young people report climate anxiety, 59% feel unheard by their institutions. So there's sort of a participation paradox, right? Because young people are driving all of this climate change. They're the ones who have all of the power. They're organizing their communities. They're not waiting for governments to catch up with them. They're not waiting for education curricula to be adopted. They are actually educating in their communities. They're the ones transferring knowledge between the younger generations and the older generation. So being in Design Science Studio, I've really started to perceive young people as trim tabs. They're the network amplifiers, they're the knowledge, transmitters, they are, and yet the paradox is 81% of them describe participation as being tokenistic with limited policy impact. They feel exploited when they're, with regard to their mental health and well-being. We're seeing this across the world. So we are working with these young leaders and we're learning so much from them because they already think in terms of systems. They're holistic thinkers. They understand the interconnectedness of climate change and exploitation and extraction and justice. And they're really pushing us as an institution to really think about how we can serve all of life. So it really comes back to Bucky and to the work that we're doing here in Design Science Studio and connecting and building these networks and this ecosystem that can allow energy and ideas to flow. So I think I'll stop there so that Roxy can share her thoughts.
Mm. Thank you, Roxy. Yeah, the trim tab was mentioned, and so I wonder if that's part of how we want to explain a little bit more, because I know that, as Gigi's pointing out, it's through this program that trim tabs are going up, are being identified in this program as well.
Yeah, for anyone who is not familiar with what a trim tab is, either in the call or on the stream, it's this little, it's the smallest, most precise thing that you can do to make the biggest impact. I was trying to remember the particular phrasing, but when you're looking at airplane or a boat, there's a little rudder and there's an even smaller one, and it's the little tiny one that like actually helps redirect the course. And we are trim tabs. On Buckminster Fuller's grave, it said, "Call me trim tab," because that was really what he sought out to do with his life, was to see like how can I be really precise with what I do so that I can help to shift systems to be a benefit to all of life. And here in the Design Science Studio, that's very much what we're cultivating. We're cultivating cultural change, because culture is the ultimate trim tab. When you, we've mentioned some folks already today. I think Eileen most recently mentioned Donella Meadows. And if you read Donella Meadows' book, the number one way to shift systems is through paradigm shifts, through culture. Because as we shift culture, we shift behavior. And as we shift behavior, we shift society. And we just shift society, we shift systems. Because systems are made of people. And obviously in collaboration with the more than human world. So the part of this cultural unlearning that we're also doing in education is very much connected to a decolonial approach to education, and understanding that there are some very real roots in a lot of our current educational systems that are continuing to perpetuate some of the harmful patterns of coloniality. And some of those are to have people, and I think Gigi, you just mentioned, right, the transactionality of some of the educational systems of the past, instead of actually building the capacity for people to think for themselves and to learn together and to be in practice together. The educational systems that we are all tending here are looking at how do we build that capacity for each of us to be those trim tabs, to know the tools that are at our fingertips together, and to harness them, to proactively prototype these radically hopeful and inclusive futures. And as much as we're learning, we're unlearning, because it's not something that has the same methodology in any situation. We need to be nimble. We need to be able to understand and get curious about the systems that are impacted by and the systems that influence anything that we're trying to approach, whenever we're trying to be of support and create in service to a healing or regeneration or tending of a certain area of the world that we are wanting to be in support of. There's a deep curiosity that needs to exist there. So that's very much at the heart of what we're looking at in terms of shifting our educational patterns to less of the copy paste, do as you're told, and more of the cultivating the collective capacity to learn and move together.
You know, that's going to, so I'll ask you the follow-up question then first, because that does lead me to the next one, which is, if you were to offer to people today, you know, what is one practice, one question saying one thing that you would offer that is a way to shift a classroom or shift a learning community, as quickly as possible to start thinking about these regenerative practices and culture? What would you be able to offer today from all these experiences of keeping DSS engaged across the world? So many different ways to learn.
That's a big question. I'm not sure that I can answer it. I don't know if it's a one way, but I will say that some of those best tools for coherence together is ensuring that we're uh, seeing a practice pathway that we're cultivating and willing to go into together. So the first thing that we do in the Design Science Studio is the first hold on is culture, context, and collective inquiry. And part of the culture process is to be willing to be curious and to be willing to be uncomfortable together and to find a way to understand our privilege that we enter with into any certain space and align our community practices and praxis with the equity anchor. And so in the Design Science Studio, that is super important to say, like, here's where we're at in the world. How does literally how we show up here be a ripple of what we're trying to create? And how do we build that trust together so that we can be in service to creating that through our practice? And so I think the journey is the destination, and the community is the project. Might be the gift that I have to share. That is a ripple from that, because if we are entering any space and we're just thinking about where we're trying to get people, but we're not actually being attuned to the emergence of exactly who's there, then we're leaving that opportunity amiss. So I think I'll give that to the room.
Well, that is a gift, and it's now going to lead me to ask you, Pauline, as well. I know it is a big question, as Roxy said. So, maybe you could share also just a one thing that you found has really changed people in your program. What would perhaps something that leads to aha moments for your students? Pauline?
I forgot and I muted myself. You're good, Pauline. I forgot
Okay.
that and I muted myself. You're good.
No, it's no problem. Thank you. I love, working with technology, but sometimes you need scenario B, right? What was an aha moment in my, as a work as a teacher? Well, giving assignments that students freezes over that I'm not able to do this. This is too difficult for me. This is beyond my ability, and then give trust and attention and time and inspiration, and pick up their hands, and most of the time also feet. Let's go outside, let's put on your boots and stamp in the mud and ask this farmer who is doing also its daily work, and ask, be curious, feel, smell, cook. Sometimes we do assignments like, can you grow potato in soil that is salty? And then students will say, well, it's not possible. And then I bring the students over to the farmer who has grown potato plants in soil which is salty. And then we harvest the potato, cook them, and eat it. And then think and taste and have this sensory feeling. So it's a combination of, you have to use all your senses within the assignments, being an educator. That was my aha moment.
Wow. Brilliant. Gigi, I wonder if you'd like to build on any of this.
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to build on both what Pauline and Roxy shared. And I think one of the lessons we're learning is that, one of our North Stars is really embodied experiential learning, as Pauline is saying, going out and touching the earth, coming back with what they've learned from their communities. I mean, all of that lived experience is very valuable insight for us. We also, another thing that we've learned is training young people in foresight is really key for them to be able to envisage the future, to have the tools to be able to see, to be able to backcast and scan the horizon for signals of the future. And something we're seeing also is that, it's really the system sometimes fails. The intelligence is there, it's in the young people, it's in the communities. But, often it's looking at which are the voices that are not being heard, which are the voices missing, whose voices yield power, and how can we bring those voices into the conversation, into the co-creative process. So, I would say, if I were to give advice to people, I would say, don't start with a program, start with the relationship, start mapping the ecosystem. Because nature shows us that healthy systems don't grow through control, they grow through connection. And then I would say design with people, not for them. And as Pauline shared, build trust, not just infrastructure. When we start to trust young people, everything shifts. We start to see that they move from participating to actually really generating influence. I mean, these young people I'm working with, they don't just have projects, they're working to design legislation with governments. They're working to influence their national plans. They're 10-year-olds are working to inspire others to not just plant trees, but to think about nature as a living being. And it's just, I'm just so inspired by these young people. To me, they're the ones inheriting the future, but the ones also teaching us. They're our greatest teachers in terms of how to create a regenerative present and future. So.
Well, we have to wrap there, but we will put everybody's information in the chat, and I do highly recommend that if you are interested in any and all of these educational projects, please do connect with Pauline, Gigi, and Roxy. There is just such a span of programs that we just talked about, and they touch so many lives. And I just want to thank you all for helping us to look at how we do weave and connect, align, stay curious, and design with, not for. I'm just very grateful. So thank you all for being here today. Yay.
Thank you, Mariette. Thank you, Roxy and Pauline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was just incredible. Being a part of DSS and being able to watch you work, Roxy and Gigi and Pauline, who I don't know as well, but I'm still very impressed with. It shows how we can do things that are beyond ourselves and just putting on these sorts of gatherings and these global initiatives and projects are just it's so inspiring, and it gives me a lot of anxiety because I'm like, oh God, that's how can you control for everything, and that's something that is a growth edge on my end, but just seeing you do it with grace and kindness and wisdom and love and nature. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And now I believe that we have Roxy leading us back into. Oh, Roxy's saying 1 moment. She's staring at a world more interesting than ours. I'll add my face up here so that you're not alone, Rebecca.
You know what Um, I'm making sure the other room is open for Spencer, trying to multitask because our beloved Eve is sick. So maybe as a way to begin, if thank you, Rebecca, for everything you said. I love you so much. Gio, if you could frame up a little bit for people the neighborhoods of Regenera, I will get Topia queued up here in just 2 minutes.
I feel unprepared to do such a thing in this moment of time from the top of my head.
Oh, well, you know, oh,
Yeah,
Mariette feels
that's what I
prepared.
could do.
Great.
We could do it together, perhaps not alone, but but we can start to talk about it. I know we have, let's see, Natura and Agora, and I feel like the Agora is a theme that you are well acquainted with, Mr. Geo slash Ari.
Pardon me?
Perhaps not today.
I would love to be able to draw up my notes with a little lead time. So you have
I can do it. I can do it. All right.
that was what a great plan.
Fabulous plan. Well, you know, the citizens sometimes get stuck in their own neighborhoods and they don't always branch out. But it's important to have a little time to play. So we've been the neighborhoods of Regenera. There are many. One of which is the Arts District. It's a lively and beautiful place. We had a very fun time in the Regenaissance Cabaret last night. If any of you were here, wow, what a journey. We also have a beautiful neighborhood called Natura. It's as Mariette said, it's a place to connect with her. So it's very much inspired by our relationship with nature and ecology and healing as well, and how important the healing of our ecosystems and the healing of our bodies are for the healing of the world. The village is one of the neighborhoods, and and that neighborhood is all about reimagining how we live. So that could be regenerative land projects. It can be the future of cities, but really also holding this civic architecture as well, which is very much about today, right? Today is rewilding our civic imagination. And so we are going to be exploring some of these neighborhoods. And the last one that Mariette just mentioned is a neighborhood that is very near and dear to many of our hearts. That neighborhood is called Agora or Agora. It's also where Bucky's lab is. And so traditionally, agoras are these philosophical centers and places for knowledge and wisdom to be gathered and shared. And Bucky's lab. So we keep talking about Buckminster Fuller. He's one of our important and wise elders that is very much at the backbone of the Design Science Studio. The Design Science Studio was created in partnership between the Buckminster Fuller Institute and Have Ritual, our creative studio. And so together we created the Design Science Studio and this legacy of Buckminster Fuller, really focused on how do we create a world that works for all of, he said all of humanity. I actually suggested we switch it to all of life, and it has been formally adopted over the years, which is a natural transition, I think, for all of us to see that it does need to work for all of humanity, but humanity is but one part of this bigger living system, and Buckminster Fuller was very much akin to that. All of his work was also very inspired by the geometry of nature and the underlying structures across all of life to the scale of the universe. And so Bucky's lab is also the incubator and makerspace of Regenera. Mariette, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I do, because there's something before we go into the tour as well, that all these spaces right now reside on a platform that we use called Topia. And what I just wanted to like bring people in who might not know, and just to give you like a little bit of background of why I love these worlds so much, is that on Topia and also in New York City, which is a platform that we use, but Topia is the one we're going to be looking at today. It is so easy to start to build your piece in there, that what I found is it helped me to bridge just the vision with what actually happens when we design in space. And even though that's cyberspace, it's still space. And I think that that's one of the most amazing things, is that we are designing for these ecologies, and we actually get to experience, what it is to design a little portion of a game space, of the play, the serious play that is just such a leading edge in everything that transforms education into something you want to do. It transforms challenges into gamified challenges that, again, also feel more bite-sized and more exciting, and not so scary to perhaps, try, fail, and then try again. So just wonder if that's part of the reason why, Topia became just such a fun and exciting place to bring DSS into when you first started.
Yeah, it's very accessible. It's playful. And also when we first started the Design Science Studio, we had this opportunity in the middle of the pandemic to bring folks together in a way that they could simulate part of both the lived, felt sense of going on an adventure through each other's visions and minds in ways that could only be accessed on the internet. Um, and yeah, it's grown. It's grown into this beautiful container for hundreds of projects. And we're just going to give you a little bit of a taste. But I put a link in the chat that folks may have not yet explored. And we're going to have more time later today and a bunch of time tomorrow. And you'll start to see in Catalyst just these big chunks of time with different links of different worlds and different neighborhoods that you can explore, which is just open for you to wander. And I'm going to take us just actually to the homepage of Regenera so you can understand how you get there. So when you arrive to the homepage of the regenera.city, you get to learn a bit about the background of the story and the world of Regenera. In 2021, a movement had been growing underground for decades. It started to emerge. It was carried on by all those who were tired of hearing, "That's just the way things are." So this goes on to talk about how, the future is always first an idea. And in order to help to shape these futures, we are standing on this precipice of practicing and empowering the stories and the spaces that will bring about the Regenaissance and create these futures that we want together. And so Regenera is at the heart of the Regenaissance. And as you continue to wander, you'll meet some of our friends in Regenera. Ava and Gloria will meet you as you arrive into this part of the city. And they'll tell you about the story and the story world. But in order to get us to Topia, I'm not going to take you through the whole story because they're already bickering here. Don't mind her; she's always grumpy. They're friends though. They're sisters, Sisters sometimes they bicker. So I encourage you to make it through the onboarding, through the training, and to the launch pad. And when you arrive to the launch pad, you will see that there's an opportunity to explore the city. And so when you go to Topia, it takes you to the Regenera deck. So this is the first world that you'll be dropped into. And there we go. So the Regenera deck allows you to begin the journey, and the Regenera deck lands you kind of in the center of the city. There's a few things that one or two things that I think are still under construction, but for the most part, things are updated. And if you go, you can explore. There are 4 other worlds here. You can go straight from the Regenera.city launchpad, or you can wander around in Topia. So I'm going to mute my Topia so that it doesn't, let's see, allow while visiting sites. Change your avatar here. I think today I want to be a dinosaur and I want to be purple. Very good. Okay. And great. There's my room. There, I am unmuted. Well, I'll keep myself muted. So you enter the world. And as you begin to explore the world, you may find other friends. Ah, look, there's Bex. If she had her camera on, then I would see her face appear. So if you turn your camera on in Regenera, Bex, we can actually go on adventures together, which is quite fun. There's even a little chat. We can chat with each other. But yeah, so this little, for some reason, this funny little, our really beautiful little intro to Regenera video is not working. So I'm trying to figure that out. But there are, oh, here's Ava and Gloria again. And then we see the 4 worlds of Regenera, and these little bits of media will pop up. This is Mel. He's wondering, oh, Bex is a pumpkin. Bex, come here. Hi, pumpkin friend. See, it's really quite fun. And then you can go on adventures together. Hi, let's go this way. So you might want to navigate the worlds, and you find different things. And so over here, we'll start to see, and I'll zoom out a little bit just for y'all, that there's an entrance to the Agora and Bucky's lab. And it's quite fun because you can also, go inside the buildings. Oh, I'm on the 2nd floor. But then it says, click me. So if you click it, then you can go to that world. Let's go. So it takes me to a portal. Apparently I need to sign in. Oh, yes, I need to go back in. Sign into Topia. I don't need to sign into Topia. Why am I signing in? It should just let me do it. Boop. Let me out of here. Hold on. I don't need to sign in while being on screen share in case for some reason.
But we did get that. I love just getting that first glimpse into how when you meet a friend in there, you can actually see each other and talk and have conversations.
Yeah. It's so fun. Okay, it's let me in. And I know we need to transition now, but it's really quite a joyful thing to find your friends. So here I am. I'm still a dinosaur. I can turn my camera back on. I can enter the world. And if my audio was on, you would start to hear there's a really beautiful piece from one of our friends, Jason Silva, that plays when you come into Agora. Oh, Bex made it over here. Fabulous. Very good. Should we do your next presentation from inside of Agora? And then if you wander over, you can start to find a bunch of the projects. So there are all kinds of incredible projects from across the Design Science Studio in Topia, years and years and years of projects. And one thing, this is a perfect segue because we are about to have a Choose Your Own Adventure segment. And one of those Choose Your Own Adventures is going to be with Malcolm. So you can either access it from Catalyst, or I can drop the link in the chat here in just a second. And you can go and experience the Realistopia Finding the Future project that Malcolm is doing each day of the Regenera Rising Summit. And so today, Malcolm's Finding the Future session is connected to his project, the Realistopia. And his project is really built on how, there are so many stories of apocalyptic futures that surround us and try to overwhelm us, but they're not the only stories that we can tell. And so the inquiry that Malcolm has for us is, what if there was a good future for all of us out there? And so this is going to be this other thing that you could go do right now, other than staying in the main room, is the second of 3 collaborative Finding the Future sessions, where we'll all vision together what the good future could look like and the steps we can take to get there. So I'm going to leave Topia, as cute and wonderful as it is, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that everybody to spend lots and lots of time in Topia, because literally hundreds of projects are in there. We have some two other worlds. I couldn't find these links a minute ago, Della, so I'm so glad you shared them, to 2 of Della's worlds that we were gonna try to explore a little bit now, but we'll play in those a little bit later today when we have another art adventure. Della built her own entire world that you can find from within Regenera, but you can also just go there directly. So that's a little quick initial preview of the fun of Topia. And I am going to now just drop into the chat in case folks need it. 2 things. One is just a direct link that will fully take you out of this room uh, into a completely other Zoom. If you want to go and have an experience with Malcolm to find that good future together. And other than that, you can stay in here. And I think John is going to introduce the next session that is going to be hosted by Rebecca Pan. She's going to be unveiling part of her incredible project that she's been working on and give us a sneak peek. So with that, I will leave the stage. I will bring her up, and John will properly introduce you. It's such an honor to have you in the Design Science Studio, Rebecca. Both of you, truly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Roxy. Topia is so cool. I have not spent enough time in it, and it is massive. And I'm glad I haven't spent enough time in it yet, because that means there's more to explore and more to find out and more connections to make. And yeah, really, it's really such a sort of stunning masterpiece that we all get to have a little piece of, which is so cool. So next up is the lovely Rebecca Pan, and Rebecca will be presenting, as Roxy said, a little piece of, oh, and yeah, a little piece of her project. She's a 12 times founder, activator, and organizer. She connects climate and social impact nodes around the world to enable and advance ideas of regeneration, connection, equity, and flourishing for life. Without further ado, let's hear from Rebecca.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Can everyone hear me? Great. So I want to use this time as a conversation and a discussion about how it feels like we can be the most impactful with the time and energy that we have. For me, that is Earth scale. And what is Earth scale? Earth scale is an accelerator that's committed to scaling climate solutions, specifically for frontline founders. And what I'm curious in discussing with you, and if you would all come off mute if you're so inclined, because I would really like this to be an intimate conversation. It makes me less nervous. What I'm trying to understand is what we're building, how it's landing, how the language is landing, how the concept is landing. So I'd like to walk you through the website, and if we have time, also walk you through the assessment tool that we've developed to help founders identify where they are and provide some insight and advice. So you ready? I'm going to share screen.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, so you are the very first people to see where we are with the site. It's not live yet. We have like a little bit that is live, but we're not telling anybody about it yet because we want to get it really into a place that feels right. So first question. So Earth scale, we're scaling climate solutions from all corners. And this is it's a unique model specifically supporting frontline founders. We believe that frontline founders are the answer and have the solutions, but don't have the access or the capital or the support to really scale effectively. So that's what we're here to solve and to work through. And so one question to you, and I'd love if people came off of mute. I'm not following the chat right now. But what does Frontline Founder mean to you?
Can you
I
say
would
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say a frontline founder would be a founder that is directly living in the community that is encountering a climate problem, a climate justice problem, or an ecological problem related to climate change. So they have to be directly experiencing it through their community.
Perfect.
I would say, just to add to that, maybe extend that, is that it would be a founder that's proposing solutions that would mediate and help with the frontline founders and the frontline communities that are at risk.
Could you say that again? I missed the first couple words.
It would be that the founders that are proposing solutions for immediate solutions for frontline communities.
Yes. Yes. Okay, great. So that is exactly what we're intending to convey. So that's really helpful. And actually, this term frontline founders came from DSS when we were doing a pod session, and I don't remember exactly what language we were using, but I think it was Malcolm, who is not here right now because he's doing his own thing in another room, who was like, I feel like you're really talking about frontline founders. So that I'm really glad that that's landing. We're built on Ubuntu's philosophy that I am because we are. And I wonder if that is that something people know? Is that something people are familiar with? Or is that something that needs some more explanation?
It's a little vague.
It
Okay.
depends on the audience you're talking to. I would think most people would need it defined if they're new to it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Clarified,
Helpful.
yeah.
And
Can I?
Yes, please.
I wonder if this, I think just flipping it where, I mean, you introduce it and then later you can use the term, but you could just say founders on the front line, like if that's what you're trying to say, that way it feels like less like a term and more like a description.
Mm-hmm.
That could help maybe if it feels just really deeply aligned right now.
But isn't everybody in every place on the front line of climate impacts? So I think you're trying to be more specific than that, but you're kind of skirting around it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, actually one thing that came up for me when the Ubuntu came up, that concept, I am because we are, is that we are all experiencing some amount of climate something problem issue, something changing, something, and it's all related. We're all on the same earth. So, we're all experiencing it regardless of where we are. But I think the important part is the front line and the founder gives it an emphasis of like the bleeding edge, like the worst problems or the most obvious, most blatant. And founder for me implies this someone who found a solution, someone who has, the key to solve this problem for a particular location or the entire Earth or whatever scale it is.
Or maybe you're implying the people with least resources because people with more resources have more buffer zone between them and climate impacts, and people with a lot fewer resources, may live in neighborhoods where there are no trees on heat when there's a heat dome, or may have food insecurity challenges or crop failures if they're farmers.
Small island nations and sea level rise.
Yep. Yeah, all of that. We are all impacted for sure, but not in the same ways.
Yeah. And it may be important to emphasize that the most important solutions are the ones at the front lines, the ones that, are most severely affected.
Yeah, well, I think we do. We get there a little bit further down. One more question before I zoom back out. We're really zoomed in right now, and I really appreciate the feedback. When we say rooted in the global majority, what does that mean to you?
Well, I've studied this stuff, so I know that the global majority is what most people would call the global south. And again, depending on who your audience is, and if you're going to want reaching people who might not know that, it's just a matter of, having a little asterisk, having a place that's defined. So that's either a teaching moment, or you can say the global majority is sometimes called the global south. You could just be specific, like right there in the text. But yeah, the global majority is the majority of people who are called the global south. It actually doesn't accurately even define where they live, but it continues to perpetuate some of the domination of the Western modernity kind of structures that say like we're more evolved or advanced than you or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I think an asterisk does make sense. Maybe an asterisk on Ubuntu and global majority. I think the people that identify with these concepts, which are the people that we want to support and believe have the most efficient and effective and relevant solutions, will get it. But such a big part of what we're trying to do is connecting those founders with the funding and support that they need, and that the funding and support, those groups don't necessarily, they're not necessarily in these same rooms. So I think that is really good insight. Okay, I'm going to move on. The future of climate innovation is already being shaped by the global majority, yet the systems that move capital and opportunity were not designed with them in mind. So we're working with founders, frontline founders that are doing the work. They're there, they see the problem, and they're quietly doing this work, but without as much access to funding, channel partners, scale protocols, and coaching and advisory, so they can really scale with clarity and ownership. How does this section land?
I would say that this section is clear, and I wonder, like, even that tagline that you had above, like, because I heard you say that, like, the uniqueness is connecting where there's not a connection or it's a weaker connection, which is clear in what you just said. But I think even this tag, like a unique model built on this, launched in that, like that doesn't say, because I had a question of like, why does it matter that it was launched in the San Francisco Bay Area? And it was like, well, maybe because like what you said at the end was like, oh, they're not connected. So I wonder if it's up there as you think about like if you're gonna massage some of that language, that it's bringing up that like what you're seeking to change, which becomes much clearer in that second paragraph that you articulated there.
Okay. Okay, helpful.
Rebecca, it seems like you're aiming at two different audiences. One are the people with wealth and power who might be your funders, and the other, the innovators who are seeking resources and have a different experience. And you're trying to make one site that reaches both. And then I think the jargon used by one group might not be understood by the other.
Yeah, the primary audience for the site is the founder. The secondary is the investor, the funder, the institution, or the government. And there we will have pages that are devoted to those groups. I'll show you a little bit further down where we have kind of the people in the groups in the ecosystem. So depending on who we're talking to, we will send them either, if it's a founder, we'll send them to the homepage, or we'll send them right to the application, depending on kind of their entry point. The investors and funders and institutions and governments, we will probably send to a different landing page that specifically speaks to them and to what is important to them. Do you think that will achieve the objective?
I think it's a question you should keep in mind as you're continuing to design the site. And maybe you need to have a glossary of terms somewhere where you define what you mean by terms that are specialized.
I like that. Part of the inquiry today with you, I'm so immersed in this language that it's not jargon anymore. So I don't know exactly what jargon is anymore.
Yeah. That it's good to have a couple of readers who aren't familiar.
Yeah, that's very helpful. This is a real image of sea level rise, which is really horrifying. And I thought it was AI generated when I first saw it, but it's not. So this slide is intended to show the scale of the challenge, but also show that if we can unlock funding and we can connect these founders who are already doing the work and already providing the solutions without a lot of support, that we can really achieve huge things. Does that land?
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, that lands for me. How are you finding them and recruiting these frontline founders? How are you building those relationships? Is this like an application format for grants, or is it an incubator? Like, how are you finding them? Do people refer them to you?
All of those things. So I have all the three founders, we all have incredible networks. You all being part of mine, and Shuri's. So people refer us, orgs and companies. We will be launching an application process. We'll also be doing something that we're calling an expertini. Let me see, where should I show you? Which is like a 15-minute call. This. So we're offering kind of discovery calls that we're calling expertinis, that are not sales calls, but they are to kind of like an Ask Me Anything format, that gives founders some insight, and it gives us some awareness of, do we think that this individual would be a good fit for the cohort? And it is an accelerator cohort. The first one will be kicking off at the end of this year, or sorry, in January, but we'll be opening up application in this second half of the year, is specifically around ocean tech. So we'll be looking for aligned founders and funders in the ocean tech world. And that's the world that one of our founders is very tied into. This woman over here, Nicolette Van Exel. That's where she's lived for decades.
I have a question. I wonder, it might, I don't want to derail us, but I wonder, are sometimes people who, earlier there's a comment like these are maybe two different audiences, but I wonder if you're going to also be encouraging people to look at traditional founders and to also include like community-based equity in these solutions. So ways that people could either crowdfund to be part of it if they don't have, because sometimes what happens, people want to invest in solutions, but they don't have the large amounts of capital, but they could do incremental or micro capital. So I'm just starting to wonder, because I see so much great potential bridge building in what you're saying.
Yeah. So I've been inspired by Ma Earth, who does crowdfunding specifically for climate solutions and will do matching. So it's like community crowdfunding, and then they'll match whatever you raise. So it's every dollar is $2. So that's something that we are planning for down the line, and grants. And we're looking at how we can have the cohorts be integrated with the revenue generating for-profit companies and the frontline community, like the nonprofits and the organizational networks, how we can make sure that the voices, all of the voices are at the table. Does that answer your question a bit?
It does. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love you to continue, because I'm enjoying the access and advisory and acceleration as well.
All right. Let's see.
I just want to celebrate how just getting to see the website. This is a big deal.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, just like having all these months hearing about all the different parts of it, and it feels so coherent. And yeah, I like just started tearing up thinking about just what a beautiful thing that this is for the world, and it's really a gift to get to see it at the stage.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
very
Roxy,
beautiful
thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you. Thank you all. It's joining DSS was a big and having Earthscale be kind of like the project that we wanted to advance. A lot of that was to kind of create a structure and a forcing function to get our shit together and like start to get our language and our values and be inspired by just the expansive regenerative nature of DSS, and learn, what to do to run a really strong cohort. And so we have made a lot of progress, and a lot of that is because of the scaffolding that we've received here as part of DSS. So thank you. There are a lot of different groups in the ecosystem where Ubuntu, I am because we are, is it's all about connectivity and connection and community. And that's where I've lived for a long time. So there's not a lot of ego in this work. It is like we want to connect people to the networks of networks of networks. So there's a lot of room for strategic partners, for investors, for philanthropy, for family funds and family foundations, for corporate, for government, for institutions. And we're looking at it from the perspective of not apologizing to underserved communities or even using language like underserved, but celebrating the amazing work that's already happening. And it feels like as we're developing this, like the world that we want to live in, it is about really holding up and supporting these founders that are already doing the work. Does this section land?
I was speaking quick. I think it's really wonderful to see like the ecosystem of people that you are working with. And as you were kind of scrolling, and I know you were kind of scrolling fast, it feels like one, it's a beautiful website that has all of these parts and pieces. And I wonder, like, again, not fully seeing it, if some of those sections in the flow couldn't like come together and be a little bit tighter. So like you had, like in my brain, it's like, it's what we do, why we do it, how we do it, who we do it with. Like, because as you were scrolling, like up above, you talk about who you work with. And then this is a nice like expansion of that. So like, is this the section that dives deeper into the who? And then you had like the 3 A's of the how, which was really nice. But then down below, that's where you had like that express teeny. So it's like, could that be pulled up? Because that's really about that center, the way I was reading the center section. And so it feels like all these pieces are here, but there's a few that I think could maybe just be like kind of brought together so that that flow becomes a little bit more seamless as you're going through each section, which is really, really clear. And I think in that ecosystem one that you just showed, like the order of these, like the first people that you're working with, right, are the frontline, which I was reading as the global majority founders. And
Yes.
so, like, one, is that the same thing as frontline founders, as global majority founders, that language? And then moving that, because they seem like they feel like they're the primary people that you're first working with, and then investors. And then I wonder if there's like, as you see all of the ecosystem, even just the order in which it's seeing, like putting the ones that you're working with most or first. And maybe this is like a breakdown of that, and these are all frontline founders. They're just different types of frontline founders. So I think there's maybe a way to, see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. These are the ways that people can work with Earthscale. So you can join our community, which is a global network. We do mentor-mentee matching. We do events monthly, as well as founder-funder dinners that are targeted. We do advisory. So if you are like, I don't have time for a cohort, just help me. That is available. And we do intensives and deep dives. And then we have the accelerator cohorts, which are 6 months long. The way we're structuring it, you only meet twice a month so that you have time to be the busy founder that you are. And you can choose, I don't know where this page, if it makes sense to be in the cohort, or if it makes sense to be in the cohort and have us actually help you with the work itself. So this is kind of like a fractional support for marketing, leadership development, and fundraising. Those are what we see are the biggest gaps. So you can be in the cohort, or you can also be like, no, I want more. I need all of your time. Does that land?
Do you state what you think the founder's needs are? I can't really read it. I'm looking at this on my phone, so I can't see all the details.
Oh, that's fair. We do. I mean, we do. We talk about.
You connect. What I'm saying, what I really mean is, are you connecting what the founders need to what you're offering? So if you need a quick, confidence boost or insight into what's possible, do the expertini. If you want to have the support of other founders and ongoing guidance and coaching, do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do they know which to pick?
Yeah.
So are you going to get funding, like say from philanthropies to fund and underwrite this work?
Yes.
Or you, so
it'll
go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll be raising money through philanthropy. There is also a cost because we feel like founders have to have skin in the game to care. But there will be scholarships available. We're looking at a $6,000 for the 6 months and $50,000 for the fractional support.
Would the $50,000 be only for, or also for 6 months?
Yeah.
And does it say that?
I don't think it says that yet.
And
I think there's a specific, it'll
in charging the
it will say
investors?
that.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. Are you charging the investors for being part of your circle?
We're not charging them, but they will be able to invest in Earth Scale and or the companies themselves.
Will the investors have any say in where or how much money goes to which project?
No. No, it'll be into a pool. All right, we're getting.
Just I can imagine some people might want more influence, and I wonder if there could be an option, sort of like Mariana was asking about, for an investor to have more say, like to pay to be part of the siding circle. I don't know, that might kind of throw it off its tracks a little bit, potentially.
That's a good idea.
I feel like it can traditionally be one of the things that derails projects, is having the investors like have too much of a say. So I kind of like the version where, at least I don't know what the
Angel
governance.
groups usually give you a chance to invest in the projects you're most interested in, or the companies you're interested in.
Yeah, so what we're anticipating is an investor can invest in Earthscale, and that gets them access to the companies, and some of the money that they're investing goes to the cohort itself. But then if you want to do, if you're like, oh, I really love that one, I'd like to support them directly, then that's also an option that we encourage.
Do you know Sarah Carney and Prime Coalition?
No.
They invest in clean, kind of advanced clean tech solutions, and they have a fund called the Azola Fund. And I think she'd be a great person for you to talk to about possible ways of modeling how you're doing this.
Yeah.
She has
I would love to speak with her.
a big group of philanthropic investors and family folks that are, wanting to do more speculative investments or early stage investments.
Can you say the names again? And do you know her?
Yeah, I do know her, and this is Mariana speaking, and her nonprofit is called the Prime Coalition.
Yeah, I would
And
love
then
to have a
they work
conversation.
with a VC fund, and it's called Azola. So
Yeah, I would love
I can
to connect.
I'll put my email in the chat, and then you can send me a paragraph describing what you're doing, and I can make an introduction by email.
Amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm excited by what you're doing, and it's good to kind of get some other models to inspire what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done a lot of research, but there's definitely way more conversations to be had. This is
There
just
was
kind
a
of
question from Laura in the chat for you, Rebecca. She says, I would love to schedule a 15-minute meeting. Is that currently possible?
Yes, it is. I can put after I finish, I will I can put a link in the chat.
Me. What else?
Rebecca, when you say frontline founders and Earth Scale, I really think of founders that are on sort of the edge and are emerging. But then when you're talking about the the amount of money that the founders would need to commit to this as a service, it seems to pull away from the people that are on the very beginning of starting something. It seems like it's going to gravitate more towards an established something that's backed by an institution and actually is established.
So frontline founders are I think we have in here somewhere, we are looking for founders that are past the idea stage and prototyping stage and are revenue generating, have raised some money. But like I had showed in that slide, there's just so little money going to these founders. So it's not the earliest of stages. And I'm anticipating scholarships and philanthropy supporting with catalytic funding so that if $6,000 is out of reach, maybe you're able to pay 2,000 or 3,000 and the rest is matched with catalytic funding. The 50K, it would be for a group that has funds and is ready to up their level of data room or a pitch, or that would be more for like a seed or series A stage founder that's ready to go to the next level.
And you're thinking of seed or series A in the terms of these are the fund categories that are typically found in venture, or is that language also borrowed for just general grants to nonprofits? I mean,
that's specifically for for-profit companies that are investable, either by venture or what we're aiming for are like more regenerative funding mechanisms than VC, which is just its own broken system. But part of what we are thinking about is how do we, like all of the nonprofits that are doing the most amazing work also, how do we have them in the same room so they're truly supporting each other in an ecosystem and not just an afterthought or a focus group or a but more integrated in. I think I'm hitting time. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop there. Thank you so much, Mariana. Thank you for connecting me. And I'll put a link in the chat. And if anyone has more feedback or this is really interesting to them or wants to do a deeper dive, that would be amazing. Please reach out and connect with me. Thank you.
Becca, it's so amazing to really witness how much thought and care you have in this project. And it really impacts me to be able to see how dedicated you are to chewing on each one of these components of the idea and taking such a big concept and really trying to, it's a great name, Earth Scale, to really try to scale it out in such a way. I'm really inspired by how you've approached this and how you continue to chew on it and work through it. It's incredible and important work.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, fingers crossed.
Yeah, doing amazing things.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I've got to witness your process through all of this, through the cohort, and sharing space and time with you. It's been really amazing. I'm looking forward to how it all shapes together.
Thank you,
And
Rex.
next, it is my pleasure to bring up Marv Radio. Marv is a 3-time UK beatbox champion, a vocal alchemist, sound healer, coach, a rap singer, voice activation, breath work, and embodied presence for creative freedom. So, welcome, Marv.
Thank you, Rex, for that beautiful, warm introduction. And take the reverb off for a second. And it's a pleasure to be here. My apologies that I haven't been able to be in the stream today because I've been running around a lot in the last couple of days. But I'm really happy to be here and open up the music section of this evening's experience. And beautiful to see some familiar names, some people who I've met in my cohort. And yeah, really happy to come here and share. So I thought just to tell you a little bit about what I do. I love to do improvised music with suggestions. So I'm going to be in the chat, but keep your words for now. And very soon we're going to be calling for your participation in bringing words and themes and things that I can bring into my performance. But first, I'd like to open with a poem. And it's a poem that's often said around a fire. Most of the things I do are improvised, but this is something that gets repeated many times and actually has a little bit of Buckminster Fuller inspiration in one of the lines there. So I would love to share this poem with you. It's called Rebirth. You can also check it out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/marvradio. And this is Rebirth. Reverb? Yeah, reverb for rebirth. Let's do it. Rebirth. I say rebirth as it's not the first time aboard this spaceship called Earth. As the one great cycle spawns cycles within cycles, and the planet refreshes itself like a spin cycle. And the illusion of time gives a perceived beginning and end, but the wise ones know it's just one. Perceptions blend. In this golden moment, I hold in mind the tick-tock. We can choose to fix up or else get picked off. The puppet who dances with no strings is a fallacy, for the strings connect all the ones in this reality. The ultimate video game. I got 99 lives, so I learned how to play. Eat, plant seed, grow, repeat. No Facebook, Farmville, app delete. What we call the earth is alive and works. Through patterns so perfect, take time to observe.
Maybe more than he bargained.
Food grows on trees, money grows in mine. So I trust in the trees, knowing foresight, I am not blind. Most trust in the healing of chemicals, but trust not in nature. Cut down trees. Timber, ow! Instead of hemp to grow paper, which is renewable with a shorter cycle and much more yield per acre. Nature must be a player by the number of haters who see profit as all and cage her and rape her with no respect for her wild heart. They maim her to tame her. But we know this, right? I'm not the one to say it first. But the reason it hurts is because we are giving birth. Rebirth of a time with no ownership, where the slaves can be free and stop rowing the ship, where children play fearless, no predators near us, fall over, cut and bruised, but no work for the tear ducts. So let's overgrow those grey buildings with food and medicine. Who's there? It's you. Let I in. No separation. No occupations. Pure celebration. The healing of all nations. No anticipation. We're growing with patience. Let me make a statement. Do it now, no time for waiting. Can I get a witness? Say no more sickness, no more sickness. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Say no more sickness, no more sickness. Can I get a witness? Rebirth for the earth. Reach birth, feet first. Rebirth for the earth. Reach birth, feet first. So that was Rebirth. Obviously, yeah, I love seeing those little hearts and reactions because I do, you know, the egoic thing about a performer, we do love to see a reaction. So also anyone who's got their cameras on, and I'm seeing the smiles, in particular Rebecca, Rex, Roxy, seeing you smile and beam. And speaking of beaming, it's Mark, isn't it? The beam man, the beam man. Yes, I remember the name. Good, good, good. So right now, what I'm feeling to do is to do a little freestyle based on manifestation. So intention. Intention is a very powerful thing. Intention is the difference between certain chemicals being either poison or medicine, the way you prepare them, the way you put the energy in, the intention of bringing wonderful people together to bring a regen era where we can be regenerative. I remember in Ibiza when I was doing a retreat with Daniel Christian Wall, and he said one of the most regenerative things you can do is to be an artist. And I think that's really powerful to... At the time, I was like, but I don't grow food, and I don't live in an earth ship, and I'm still working things out. And he just turned to me and said, keep doing what you're doing and share it with people, because you can bring light to things and you can lend your voices to things. So for me, I'm going to say very clearly, one of my intentions is to find ways to collaborate with the cohorts here, to lend my voice to projects, not just speaking, not just beatboxing, not just rapping, but in creative ways that I can get involved in adding my voice and letting my voice be a conduit to nature. I'd love to find ways to come to the States and share music. If you are someone who curates festivals, if you're someone with a theater, I have lots of things that I'd love to do in collaboration with people. And also, one of my favorite things is to help people to activate their voice and find ways to express themselves. So manifesting collaborations, creativity, and for those who are ready to go really deep into what the voice is as a tool for ourselves, for this world, and for vibration and resonance, then maybe one of you might want to have a connection call with me and talk about how I can help you as a coach and as a vocal alchemy supporter. Anyway, so with this being the intention round, I spoke mine. I'm going to open up the chat so I can see it. So anything from here on out is going to be fair game for words and themes that can come in. But first of all, I just want you to know what this next frame is. So when I say go, you can start bringing an individual word, a sentence, a theme, Regenaissance, of course. You can bring something into the chat and it will become part of the song. But where's the song? Well, I need to make the song. And how do I make the song? Well, something like this. To better experience this sonic experience, I recommend that you use headphones or a speaker. And now I'm going to scroll up to make sure I begin with the words that we're speaking. So what's music but a little bit of time in music and patience? And I know that I can swell that flower fragrance, that sweetness. Well, I can feel the essence, and that's Regenaissance. Well, I see what we can put into this sentence, this presence. And sometimes the world is scary, but that's because you haven't turned on your light. You're a luminary. So go where the fear is and shine your light near it. That's where you find coherence. So whether you're part of the team and finding your way in, I know that we can all be beaming. Finding ways that we can find the moments that connect us and the perfect moments that land in between them. And specifically, I'm embodying the state we call story living, so we can see that we're connected, putting more footprints on the earth than many centipedes. Put a bit of melody inside with a harmony. I'm not from America, but I'm part of my own varsity. Studying so I can find a way to stay down to earth. I call it gravity. Finding clarity and the vibrancy, vibration, resonance between you and me. What can we be? Anything we dream. That's part of being the team that we see. So what's the essence of magnificence when we can see something different and bring our differences? I wanna be a bee so I can put the pollination from the flower to the tree, from the seed and the food that we eat. The cycle repeats. Now I see some sacred moving, spinning geometry, something like the t-shirt I see. You can see it too, man, that's something like a prophecy. It's feeling brand new. Said it's time for a chorus break. I said it's time for a chorus break. Said it's time for a chorus break. Yeah, it's time for a chorus break. I know it's time for a chorus break. I said it's time for a chorus break. Said it's time for a chorus break. Yeah, it's time for a chorus break. I know it's time for a chorus break. I said it's time for a chorus break. Said it's time for a chorus break. Yeah, it's time for... Okay. And the flow is a form of symbiosis, so we can tune into that infinite gnosis. And you know this, right? I just flow with the spirit, so I feel that aliveness. I don't want it to be contrived, but if I find it, the moment that's aligning and enlightening and coinciding, so we are all aligning. Once again, we have vibrance in the chat, so that vibrance is resonating and the echoes coming back. And I know sometimes you feel the pressure on your shoulders, but that's the wings given by the good ancestors who help you just to fly, so you can find a way to supply the energy between I and I. We call it life, just one cycle. Come and get an eyeful, building a trifle of a dessert, or maybe an hour that travels above like a Eiffel. I don't know, I meant to say tower, but said an hour, so reverse the track so the melody sounds a little different. Let me see some words we're saying, and I find a different precision to find a fractal perspective that's infinitely reflective, to find the lessons in every single sentence or every single sentence. I said sentence like I said sessions, but that's the thing, because perfection is imperfection. And I know that we can do something different, that's by being warriors who can protect the ecosystems. Creations breathe, so just breathe with me. Empty your lungs completely, and then we find a different frequency. Inhale, and hold that vision of the intention, the soul bold, and exhale. Creation breathes so we see what we can see, restoring the biosphere between you and me. A different frequency, of course, so we can find something like the light and dark, we call it force. Now I'm not a fan of Star Trek or Star Wars, I'd rather stay on Earth, but all the energy gives me a time to find a co-evolution with revolution, cause going out to space never really seemed like the solution, unless you're talking astral projection, cause then I'll do it, but if you're burning underneath a spaceship, there's no point to it. I feel the love and feed the love is feeding me. I feel the love between my heart and yours, that's between you and me, the unity. We rewriting for our civic imagination. A lot of words, but I find a space in to realize we came from cavemen and women to spacemen and women. And now I can see a way to envision the refractionaries. I like these creations of new words, because every word was a word, there was a creation to observe. So the last few lines, the song that never ends, we are dissolving separation, and that's what we do as my friends. Said this time for a chorus break. Time for a chorus break. Said this time for a chorus break. Yeah, it's time for a chorus break. It's over separation. For a chorus break. The vision when I saw it was a vision of fruit forest and food forest, so nobody goes hungry, heeding ancestral trauma. Cause I saw lots of trauma in my mummy, but I'm trying to make sure that I don't pass it on to the next generation. We need some respiration and reparations, restoration, align creation, fire emoji, exhale love, so we can fly above like eagles or a dove. So for one more time, I'm gonna break it down for this moment of sound you can feel right now. I take a moment, bring it in, take a moment to take it out, so we can bring a new vision of the system without a doubt. Oh yeah. Well, that was fun, wasn't it?
Woohoo! Yeah,
That was epic.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself at any time and make some sounds. That makes me happy. I see. All right, I'm going to make sure that I scroll up to not miss any of the text, because I did say everything's fair game. All right, but for now, I'm feeling the energy flowing through, the breath flowing through. I feel the love from everybody, as everybody, for everybody, from everybody, to everybody, for we are love. And right now, before I go back into creating new songs, I feel like I just want to make something. See, before I had all this equipment and stuff, like it was just on the street. We were just in the street beatboxing, and didn't grow up in the most. Oh, what just flew past? Am I the only one who saw that? There's like a white thing that flew over here. Anyway, so back before I started investing in equipment, and actually most of my equipment is breaking, so I could do with some more investment, which means business, which is my struggle, and opportunity, which is what I trust the source to do. I started beatboxing because you don't need any investment to do it. You can just use your breath and your voice and your mouth. And before I was a breath worker, somehow beatboxing was the thing. So I know I'm on short-ish time. I have still about 20 minutes if I'm correct. Although I can run to the original timing, that we were a bit late. But yeah, I'm gonna just do a little bit of beatboxing before we make the next song. And I have a few instruments with me. So this is a kalimba, this is a flute, and this is a tongue drum. So on that note, I'm not seeing the words yet, but for the next song, whichever one has been written the most is the one that I'm going to use. And for now, let's just take it back to how it was in the old school. You can move if you want to. You can groove if you want to. Baseline. Let's change the tempo. Oh, it's getting very warm in here. Although I love this t-shirt, I only wear it on rare occasions because it's made of polyester, and I found it after it was sponsored to me. But it's very pretty, and I don't like wearing polyester. I don't think anyone does, but you know, sometimes you make sacrifices. Anyway, let me see. I'm going to change my view so I can see you all, not see me. How do I? Yeah, view gallery, because that's better. Like, I've seen enough of me. The guy's literally waiting for me every time in the mirror. Except he's an image of me from the past, so I've never really seen myself. Yeah, I can see a few people. That's great. Let's change the tempo. Anybody who's got the camera off, anybody who wants to join in a little dance party, I love to see you move. Let's move. Take it down low. Up with it, 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 with it, music is moving from me, making you move your body. Music is moving through me. Let me see you move your body. Take it down low. I got a question. Does anybody listen to dubstep anymore? I don't know. enjoying the music because I am covered in sweat. There's no aircon in this house and it's hot outside. Something like 30 degrees. I think there's maybe like 80 something Fahrenheit. Let's go back to London with the drum and bass that we had there in abundance. This is for the junglers, 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 junglers. Actually, do you know what? I don't know if I've got time for that. 6 minutes. Maybe these guys aren't going to make an appearance, but I do want to do some jungle, so we're going to do it. Wicked, jungle is massive. I feel good. You don't whoop now. I feel good. You don't whoop now. So good. So good. Porque tengo ustedes. Okay. It's funny how the time flies when you're having fun. Let's do one more loop with people's in. Let me take a breath, of course. Woo! Thank you. See, the problem is I don't have enough fans, so like I have to do it myself. Anyway, a little bit of word humor. Anyway, so I'm gonna see which instrument was selected. Do we have one written down?
We are your fans. We still have 10 minutes.
You're my fan. We have 10 minutes. Okay, so I underestimated. That's good. Did we have a choice? Okay, well, if we don't have a choice, I can choose. Flute. We can do some flute music. I'm going to go back up to where the last time I saw you guys. Yes, let's collaborate. Am I? Yeah, that's where we were. Imagination, I think. Whew, lots of beautiful words. Okay. And if you're enjoying this and you'd like to experience on a big speaker and you know some people who organize some events, I'd love to fly over and visit you all. And maybe it's even just in your house with 30 or so people. Maybe it will be on Zoom again. I don't know, but I would love to like jam and hang out with you guys. It's a pretty long haul flight though, so we'll make it worth everybody's time. But I think everything is possible. Right? Yeah, that. Okay. Volume on that. This has been an absolute pleasure. Let's do this again sometime. But for now, I would like to find some words to rhyme, and I think if I look in the chat, I can find something so sublime that means that I will not need to rely on my own mind. I can find that the unison that we find when we all combine is more fine than when I'm on my own, but still being alone is so divine. It's a imagination is all we ever need to be free. The vibe is worldwide, we can feel the frequency. Art that changes history. They say epic Marv with rainbows. You talk about me. Where the epicness you see is reflection of what's within you and me. That's a unity, universe we see as we study in this university. We are in a universal city. Let me be. Woo! Yes. Let's collab, it'd be so much fun. Ali, vision, train engineer, I would love that. We can all become one. Come to a place, smiles on the face, awesome love, it's epic. And I need to see the next word. I saw that, saw what? Oh, the thing that was flowing past. To my credit, I didn't take any shrooms today, but I do sometimes. So what I saw flying, I don't know where it came from, but I guess that might be divine. A little light that shines, little light that's mine, a little mind that little line that's not mine, because I remind myself as I rewind, everything belongs to everyone, and nothing belongs to anyone. You saw it too, look almost like smoke, cool, but no smoke, anyone. I don't really know, it's marvelous. Play on words, that's my name. A little square with a triangle, I mean a question mark. It's all the same, 18 minutes left. I wish that was the truth right now, but I know it's like 4 minutes. And I come past, but I know that I will come round. LinkedIn.com/RebeccaRyanPan is my link to connect. Also, yes, we'll connect with Rebecca. I respect ya, and I know that one day we will be together. Whatever the weather is better, even if it's raining, you can be my umbrella. I will be your umbrella. Experimental bass music, we can use it when music comes out of your mouth. Yes, hearts, there was 12 minutes left, that's not true now. No, choo choo as we get on the train. These words are coming from the part that circumvents my own brain. Emmy's thinking, Emmy thinking, we are your fans, I am your fan. You wanna see me in real life? Roxy knows she could see that when we went to Ibiza, and I'm glad you repaired from that crash. We were all in different places, but that was when you were staying at my flat or at my apartment in Ibiza. And I'd love to see you in person, hug you and squeeze you. I don't really eat it too much, bit of rhyme so we can share a slice of pizza. That's how we know each other. Then we joined CoheART Free and we are all familiar. A little birdie on a fan, that's who I am. But there's not much wind in here, just sometimes apparitions that go past. It's a shared voyage. Join us for the critical mass on the vision train. 100,000%, maybe 10,000%, that's not in my brain. Waves of inspiration at the vision train station. Got bars, collective heartbeat, yeah we got heart. Co-creative capacity, this is the start. Serenity, soul expansion, reciprocity, yeah we can all see this. We could all live in a big mansion, earthship, and grow things from the seed to the tree. Be exactly who we're meant to be. 2 minutes left for you, that means there's only 2 minutes left for me. Super brilliant, megalicious, reciprocity, delicious. This is the Regen era, we are the Regen era, portal of Regen era, yeah. Shared voyage on the Mark car of the vision train. Let's all go insane, cause what's the point in being normal in this world that's gone so crazy? Let's put the work in, cause I know that we're gonna work and it's not gonna be lazy. Wait, where did I go? Gotta find my focus. Yes. Listen, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious dope shit. Oh, I swore I don't really do that often, but I know that I'm gonna be killing this till I'm not living in a coffin, cause I don't want to be buried 6 feet underground with forests of care. We love you, bless your life, endless unfolding journey. I'm gonna stop right there because I lost the flow a little bit, but that's okay, because everybody knows that we all come here to play. So the last thing I want to do is bring the inner child into space, to let everybody be in an imaginary state. Dream what we were dreaming today, and we team up today to make something beautiful. We can all pray and we can all play. So let me just make some sounds, nothing more to say. I just want to... that is my illusion of time. So thank you so much for being part of this journey and for bringing your co-creation energy in and bringing me all those words. And yeah, this has been so much fun. I would love to do this anytime, in any space, online or in person. You can find me at marvradio.com. You can reach out to me through many things, instagram.com/marvradio. You can book a call with me to suggest how we can collaborate. And I'm just very happy to be able to use my voice in ways that matter. And I pray that we can all use our voices in ways that matter. Love, 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 love. Thank you, 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 thank you. Okay, maybe a quick unmute and make us. Can we do a very quick unmute and make sound?
Absolutely. I was going right for that. We can't listen to all that beautiful noise come into our hearts and not make a joyful noise in return. But y'all to come off camera, come off mute and share your love with Marv.
Yeah. Amazing, Marv.
You. Woo, you're amazing.
Amazing.
Love you.
Yes, let's bring it all in, all the visions. Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to shut up now. That's enough of me. That's enough of me.
What a beautiful way to ground all of our learning today in our bodies and in the movement and motion that you set alive in us. And you'll be back tomorrow. I have it under good advisement to take us on a different kind of sound journey. And we're very, very, very much looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Marv.
Thank you for having me.
And now, from that great movement and stirring in our souls, we're going to invite you all to root down a little bit and connect with the earth. Our revolutionary Scott Huddy is here to lead us back into a space of Qigong. And my short introduction of him is Scott Edward Huddy is a civic educator and visual artist whose work blends systems design, policy, and creativity. Through the prosperity loop, he explores regenerative ways to circulate value.
Hey everyone, I'm gonna see if my camera will follow me around. Looks like it will. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, all right. How's everybody doing? That was amazing. I think we've got some energy flowing. Let's keep that going. We'll just go ahead and let's take a breath, right? Let's just kind of breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Good. We're going to play with circles. We're going to circulate some energy here. So let's start with our hands. We're just going to rotate the hands. Get some circles going. We're going to lose our joints a little bit. All right. We'll go the other way. And I do encourage you, if you're sitting down and you're able, I'd encourage you to stand up. We're going to do some movement. If you've got your shoes on, maybe take your shoes off, feel the ground. We're going to rotate the forearms, activating the elbows, getting some movement in those joints. And going the other way. Good. And then we'll rotate the arms, the shoulders, getting some big arm circles. And going the other way. Good. All right. Now, bring the feet together, hands on the hips. We'll rotate the hips. Make big circles with the hips. And we'll go the other way. All right. And kind of feet shoulder width apart. Put your hands on your knees. And we're going to rotate the knees. Just being careful, but getting some movement in the knee joint and going the other way. And then we'll rotate the leg, the whole leg, the ankle, the foot, the whole thing moving and going the other direction. And the other leg. And then the other direction. And then just kind of shake out a little bit. Okay, we're going to stand like a tree. So we're going to bring the feet and legs about shoulder width apart. And we're going to make a circle like we're hugging that tree. We're going to hold our arms out in front of us and let the shoulders be heavy and let the elbows sink. Let the hands connect to the heart. And we're going to stand for a minute. If at any time you feel like you need to move, feel free to do that. You can shift your weight back and forth. Like I said, we're going to stand here for a minute. So I'm going to start the timer. We're just going to be in silence, standing like a tree. And one last tree breath. And we'll just bring the arms down. Okay. We're going to do some circling hands activity. We're going to start by just generating a chi ball between our fingers, between our hands. So what I want you to do to start is to feel your chi. Is bring your one hand over the back of the other and just notice anything that you feel in relationship between your two hands. And you can do it on the other hand as well. Maybe you feel some warmth. Maybe you actually feel a little coolness in the back of my hands. And then we're going to bring those hands together, feeling the space between them, and projecting between the palms. We're just going to play with the energy between our hands, kind of like putty. You get some taffy, some chi taffy between your hands. You're just going to stretch that out, bring that in. Just feeling how that ball starts to form in between your palms. And it might be a small ball, it might be a larger ball. You might feel like you've got a nice large ball like that tree. But whatever it is, let it be what it wants to be. And we're going to hold that ball. And I'm going to turn the side here so you can see me. You're going to have your feet shoulder width, hip width apart, holding that chi ball. You're going to draw that into your center, up the spine, out in front of you, and back into center. We're just going to circle that ball, those hands out in front of us, keeping that connection, moving the energy up and out, down and in, up and out, down and in. Just letting the breath do what it wants. And then we'll change directions. circling, drawing the energy down and in, up and out, recycling, flowing, gentle movement. Good. One last time, we'll bring the energy down into the belly. Kind of hold that ball that at the lower, the stomach, space below the belly button, the lower dantian, the center of energy in the body, connecting and absorbing all that energy flow. And settling. And maybe again, we'll just bring those hands together and feel that, what that feels like on the back of the hand, back of the arm. Giving yourself a little chi bath. The inside of the arm, the yin side of the arm, the yang side of the arm, the other arm, inside, outside, heart side, body side. Okay, so we'll make another circle. Again, we got this ball in our hands. We're going to separate the ball into two hemispheres. Right? We're going to have those pointing towards the ground. Turn to one side, so I'm going to turn to the left. I'm going to reach out, turn to the center, and turn to the right. I'm going to draw in to the center and back to equal weight. I'm going to go turn, reach, turn, draw in, and we're going to make a circle on the ground with our hands out in front of us in a horizontal plane, projecting out of the palms down to the ground, circling in this horizontal plane. Drawing another circumference of the sphere. And we'll change directions. Good. Again, we'll draw in one more time to the center. Hands at the belly, pointing inward. Imagining there's a little singularity, a little black hole at the center of your belly. And it draws all the energy into it, storing that energy for you for later. Energizing, creating a storehouse. And then letting that little pinpoint close back up, bringing the hands down. Let's do a full body scan. We got that little chi ball. We're going to give ourselves a chi bath head to toe. Just kind of start at the head, feeling the energy projecting out of the hands. We're going to just massage the body downward with that energy. On the midriff, forget the lower back where the kidneys are, the hips, down the leg, and back up and down the other leg, and then around the middle. And then we'll make our third circle. So we're going to do what's called a coronal circle. So we've got our chi ball. Gonna separate the two hemispheres, right? And we're gonna have the hands pointing outward in front of us. We're gonna turn to one side and reach up, back to center, and draw down as we rotate to the other side, back to center. Left and right, up and down. Feeling that space in front of us, energizing and connecting to this third circumference of the sphere. The ball of energy that surrounds us, our etheric field, our protective chi energy surrounding us, creating a firm but flexible barrier or boundary. And we'll go the other direction. One more circle. And again, bringing the hands to the lower belly, just feeling how the hands connect to that center space, the center of the sphere that surrounds you. Absorbing that energy, saving some for later. And just standing until that energy settles. And we'll scan from the top of the head, just doing a body scan. Head, shoulders, underarm, ribs, elbows, center of the belly, hands, wrists, hips, thighs, down to the knees, through the knees, into the shins and calves, into the ankles, the feet, feeling the ground beneath you, dropping whatever remains of the energy that you've been flowing down into the earth for recycling. Sharing that with all of life as it shared it with you. And just release the hands, open the eyes if they're closed, shake out. And then we'll just slowly come back to where we are here in the circle of our Zoom world. And we'll just go ahead and connect with each other.
And feel free to unmute yourself if you have any appreciation to share with Scott there. What a lovely way to get us grounded again.
Thank you, Scott. So beautiful.
Thank you. We'll be doing some more at the live retreat, I think. I've got some other stuff planned. So if you've enjoyed it, maybe we can join there together as well.
Yes. I want to start every single day on site with that. Would be
That's my
lovely.
hope.
Yeah. Thank you so much for leading us in that, Scott. I think for me, like meditative practices have always been really intimidating, and when you take that meditative practice into the body, it feels so much more like actionable and like something that I don't know if other folks can relate, but that I can really like drop into and not feel like I'm going into this mood of, okay, I'm thinking about not thinking. I'm thinking about not thinking. So So thank you for that. That's, I mean, I truly, really, I was in need of that session. Um, so next up, I am excited
Oh.
to.
Spencer.
Yeah.
All good. And thank you, Scott. I realized somehow when we were doing all our reorganization, my little reset moment in the run of show just vanished. Poof. Because now is the time where we switch to part 2 where I reset the stream and reset the recording and all the stuff. So if that's okay, I will do that now. It won't take long.
I'll allow it.
All right. Fabulous. Great. I'll allow it. Oh, sometimes you have to ask your local picnic table.
For those of you who aren't aware, that is my cosplay character. I'm an inanimate object. I am the picnic table.
In the world of Regenery, you could be anyone or anything. Spencer is a picnic table. So thank you, picnic table, for allowing me to reset the stream. Beautiful. Well, for anyone who's out there on the live stream, and I can see many of you on the back end over here, I hope you've been having a great time. And I hope you continue to have a great time and join us back. We are going to set everything up for part 2 of this adventure in Regenera Rising today. And it's been such a powerful first part. So thankful to everyone who brought their gifts, their art, their initiatives, their projects, their voice, their bodies, their souls, everybody for supporting, rallying, celebrating, and invigorating these futures that work for all of life. There's that beautiful saying that says the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. And it's wonderful to get to feel that together with all of you. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we will be back for part 2 in just a few minutes.